Okay.
Alex is already on. Tanya, I've noticed you've been on this week. It's nice to see you. Kim. See, that's me again. I did my phone.
Yeah, I'm trying to check.
I do it every day.
I'm trying to check mine and I cannot. Let's see. I might just have to use the computer.
Is your phone not working?
Well, it's just, sometimes I'll get the prompt for the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it yet again today. So
yeah, I think a lot of people have not been getting it. So you have to actually go to cancel this because I don't know what the deal is. And I don't, it's just Facebook.
Yeah.
Yesterday, a couple of days ago, we had trouble with Rumble. And like right now, Rumble's come right up, already right up. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting YouTube up on my computer.
Are you going on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just my computer. I don't think it's the show's fault.
Right. Yeah, I just had YouTube up checking the audio.
Okay, and it's fine. I'm just...
Yeah, everything's good.
Good.
Yes, it's the ladies' show today, Chris.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is the ladies' show.
Yes, it's the ladies' show.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk all about girly stuff. So Chris, stay tuned. Makeup, high heels, glitter.
And he'll be
whatever. So if you want to tell us what you like to talk about.
Right. All that girly stuff. I remember I had a guest on once that really did do that. And some people were like, give me a break with that, and left. They're like, I'm here to listen to politics and you're talking about girl power stuff. And then I had some of the men that were there that they were really enjoying it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that just depends.
Yeah, Tanya, that's true. Whenever the internet is bad, Facebook kind of freezes.
It does. It does. And there'll be sometimes I see people that they freeze, that they're saying it's frozen, but the show isn't frozen. So I just tell people to refresh it because sometimes it's just your algorithms or whatever.
Connection.
Yep. Your connection. Yeah. We noticed that a lot, that we switched from one carrier to another recently because it's a kind of a new carrier that we were having for a little bit, and it kept freezing at home. So we just changed back to Spectrum.
Oh,
just changed back at home. And I think we have AT&T here in the studio, and Chesterfield was having a problem with AT&T for a little bit. So it was freezing our show, but I think we're all good right now. And everybody that is on here already, please like the show, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, like the show, share the show, and also maybe just text the show. Just take the little share button and maybe text it to a friend who has never seen the show. That was fun.
And you can go and invite, people to the cancel this show, the Patriots page.
Yes.
Just hit invite and all of your contacts, will come up, and you can just hit the button and keep hitting it and invite all of your friends.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That was like last night. I was really proud of the listeners of this show because Anthony Rogers, he's been doing this for years. And that's the podcast that Joe, Vic, and I were on last night. And what was fun about that was our listeners were chatting on it, and he doesn't usually have a chat. It was kind of fun. And somebody goes, wow, he had a lot of chat this time. And it was the listeners who cancel this. Yeah. They're just so great and interactive. It makes the show so fun. And we gear the show based on what people are interested in. So we are very much paying attention to that.
Well, and I love, yesterday was some great conversation on the chat line. Did you notice that too, Joe? It was good.
Yeah. Our listeners, I've worked on, some other conservative platforms, and the listeners on this show are not an echo chamber. I've seen other, conservative shows where it's just a worship of the host and they don't ever disagree. here people will disagree with Vic and I every day. And I love that. They'll be like, nope, that's not how I see it. Or they'll disagree with each other on the chat line. And I would say 99% of the time, they're even very respectful. But that is, indicative of a conservative group of people, that we are not echo chambers. We all have, an idea of what we think is right or wrong.
Yeah. There's a couple of subjects too that Vic talks about that I'm always like, oh, I want to, say this or say that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, it's going to take too long.
Yeah. You're welcome to do it. Cause
I just don't.
Well, there's different things that Vic and I disagree on too, because I would definitely say I see things from the vantage point of very right, where he tries to see it. He is conservative. So I'm not saying that he's not, and he's definitely a Republican conservative, but being where he's around people that were more mainstream, he tries to see both points of view. And he's better at that, where I don't think the left has anything good to say.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, and it's right 8:00, Joe. So if you want to start the show and then go right into the commercials, if you'd like, Joe.
Sounds good.
Wait, what? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road.
Good morning, everyone. I am Lizzie Sparks, and I am Vic Faust today. And my co-host, who is normally Lizzie Sparks, is one of our very own friends here, Megan. And Megan, say your last name for us.
Moret.
Isn't that a fancy name?
It is.
Megan Moret. I love it so much. Well, today is...
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. I love it. Love it. You got Lizzie Sparks, it's just cutesy. And then you got the gorgeous woman over here to my left. And today is December the 13th. And before I can even get started, I have to wish happy birthday to my daughter, Heather Noel Sparks Hicks. Now, her last name is Hicks. She's been married for several years. And she is the mama of my lovely and only granddaughter, Liberty. And I just want to wish her happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And it's also like our 261st, I believe, episode. And so we're just clocking along. We're pushing up to 270 very soon. And
This is 268.
oh, 268. I almost lost a week there.
Right.
7 days, 268. So, okay, 2 days from 270. So, and it's been a very fun, crazy roller coaster ride, but all the way through, we have gotten out the truth. The biggest thing that we want to get out on this show is that we're not a conservative show, but we are right-leaning people that are telling you the truth. So we're not trying to defend the Republicans. We're not trying to defend the conservatives. We're calling out the truth. And more than likely, when we're calling out the truth, we're calling them all out. We're calling out the Uniparty. We're calling out, and we're definitely calling out progressive liberals because they've just gone insane. I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. It's almost like they have a mental illness. But that's my opinion. Megan, I don't know if you would say that the progressive liberals are insane.
Yes, I definitely would. I would not say that all true Democrats are insane, but it's really seeming to be that the progressive liberals are definitely losing their minds.
I would agree.
And I hate to say it, but I think most of them have good intentions in their heart. They're just very misguided.
That's a good way to put it too. I agree. The very misguided people, you know, we've always said that liberals have like a bleeding heart, but their bleeding heart sometimes overcompensates for their brain.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, their critical thinking, I think, you know, when their heart is bleeding, their front part of their brain bleeds out as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That could be part of the problem.
Yeah. Come and listen to the show where we talk about bleeding brain liberals. They're just got a problem.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Well, today, as any day, we have so much to talk about. You know, I can't wait to get into the video. As you guys know, I love the Trump family. I love his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. But she tells someone on Newsmax, Eric Bolling, that Nikki Haley could very well be the VP pick. And we've talked about this to nauseam on the show about Nikki Haley.
Mhm.
And I understand possibly the strategy that maybe they're picking to pick Nikki Haley because she's coming on strong second.
Mhm.
But we kind of did that with Mike Pence. And Mike Pence, you know, many of us didn't really know who he was other than the governor for Indiana. But we do know who Nikki Haley is.
Yes, we do.
Yes. I mean, there's never been a war she doesn't like. And all the people that are endorsing her and sending her money are either Democrat or the deep state or uniparty type Republicans. So we'll be getting into that. We will also be getting into something that's near and dear to my heart. For the love of God, please stand for the national
Oh,
anthem.
amen.
We had trouble with, one of my kids' schools, and it was a Christian school. It's not the school that my youngest daughter is at right now, but their school almost periled into this huge abyss of nothingness. They had a full school and they had the football team starting to kneel. And it's the only time I really ever went to the principal about anything. And I said, if you allow this, and you could tell most of the educators at that school were God-fearing, loving Christians who leaned to the right, but they had never dealt with this. A lot of people had never dealt with the insanity of these BLM type people. And so they didn't listen. They thought I was over exaggerating. They thought all the other parents were over exaggerating, and they had kids kneeling. And when they did that, literally within 2 weeks, 100 kids left. And the school is now not doing that anymore, but it's 5 years later or so, and they're still reeling from the effects of Black Lives Matter, kind of crappy issues in their school. So we will be talking about someone, you guys might already know it, but I cannot wait to hear the opinions of our listeners about who actually kneeled during the national anthem. We also have been talking about J6 here quite a bit. My heart, you talk about a bleeding heart. My heart bleeds for those patriots. And there's grandmas like myself that are sitting in the hUSCOW there in the gulag in DC and all over the United States, really being treated worse than the people that come over the border. The people that come over the border, they get $5,000 checks. They get to go on buses wherever they want. And then you've got patriotic, loving Americans that are sitting in prison. So we're going to talk about Owen Shroyer, who is out of jail. We have a video about that, and I can't wait for you guys to hear that. We're also going to talk about how Biden tells the press to hush up.
Yeah.
Because he's going to send them so much more money. I mean, he sounds like a child when he's doing that. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to, if we have time, get into how Dick Morris, he is somebody that has for several years now been telling us what the left is doing. And he has been saying that China has put Biden on the payroll at Penn State. And this happened quite a while ago.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting to get into. And we also have who are some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. The Stricks are coming in at 8:40, and they're going to be talking everything real estate, everything, health and wellness. I love it when they come in. They're patriots themselves. They are not afraid of talking about it. And then closing out the show, we are going to talk about something you and I really don't know anything about. So we're going to be enlisting Joe, who's the expert in that area. Route 66 will be here. Patrick will be here, and Ham. And I love him. His story and his life story is great. But what did you call us yesterday when we were talking about this? Like weed amateurs?
For beginners.
Weed for beginners,
Yes,
right? Because she and I don't have.
But I have lots of questions, and
Good.
I know that there's lots of ways to use the product, not
Yes.
just smoke it or eat it. So I definitely want to know all of those benefits.
Marijuana 101.
Yes,
right.
yes. So we will be doing that, especially if you guys have, experience in that, chime in on the chat line. If you don't, listen with us who don't know many things. I know my father-in-law, he recently died of cancer, and very quickly from the time he got diagnosed, he died 2 weeks later, and they gave him chemo. And I regret very much, my husband and I both do, not fighting the rest of the family harder to not give him chemo because he was way too weak. The chemo killed him, not the cancer. And I would have fought harder to have an experienced person, maybe give him gummies, give him something else, because the chemo was excruciating. And once he started taking the high doses, he never could talk again. Oh. So it was really ugly. So that's where I really would like to talk to them too. How could his life have ended different if we had pushed harder for that?
I'm gonna make a wild guess, and I don't think gummies would have helped. I mean, it would have helped him a little bit with some of the symptoms, but Rick Simpson's oil.
Okay.
Is what they usually give cancer patients.
Rick Simpson's oil. Okay. Yeah. And I wonder if Route 66
RSO
has that.
That is a good question. I know that there's some people. I don't. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him that, because that's where I would love to see, with now being touched by an aggressive cancer, that a nurse even said, asked me right out there, okay, did your father-in-law have the jab and all the boosts? And I'm like, yes, unfortunately he did. And it was just her opinion. But she had said she is seeing people who took that and took the boosters as well. It maybe didn't cause cancer, but it certainly made it way more aggressive. So you can't fight it. So that's all the kind of things we can get in. And I would really like to ask Ham and Patrick that at 9:30.
Yes.
So what is there anything you would particularly like to get into first?
Oh, are you kidding
Isn't
me?
there so much?
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know if we'll
so
get to it all.
Well, I'll tell you the most alarming thing that I'm just shocked. Well, I don't even know if I should say shocked. It just hurts me is that the elementary school yesterday where several children were sick and rushed to the hospital due to fentanyl poisoning. Apparently one of the students brought it to school, a bag of gummies. And, this is elementary school. So not middle school, not high school, elementary school. And these children got into it. And so, it just goes back to the easy accessibility of fentanyl and, the effects of it. And
they're putting it in gummies now?
Yep.
This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing they didn't get those gummies from Route 66 or Greenlight Dispensary.
See, that's the thing. I think that somebody's doing this to discredit marijuana. You cannot lace marijuana with fentanyl. You can't.
Well,
But the thing is too is it's inexpensive to get people high, and that's the whole point. And so they're willing to put it in anything,
and it's more deadly than heroin.
Absolutely.
So
yes, and it's not a big pharma product. And so I know when we've talked to him before, there's this very big stigma about marijuana, and that people still go in with their hoodies and they don't want to go in there. And I'm one of them. As a former educator and a mommy of 5 kids, I still have it in my head. Oh my gosh, I couldn't go into one of those because what would people think? Right. But then when you really think of the whole bigger picture, big pharma is the one that's killing you.
Absolutely.
It's not a dispensary.
No, it is big pharma. And that's just a rabbit hole in itself.
Yes.
When you talk about big pharma and, what they're trying to do and what they want to do. And I mean, they just truly do not care about us.
No.
I mean, that's just like I had mentioned, several times on the show, when you have, someone like Bill Gates during an epidemic, during a COVID epidemic, come on and do a PSA and when he literally says that the only way to eradicate this deadly disease is to make sure that every single person on the face of the earth gets a vaccination. So when Bill Gates is playing a doctor on TV, we know that something's going on in his pocket.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So that's just one of many examples of how big pharma will do anything they can to take advantage of innocent people.
Correct.
Every day.
And he's not even big pharma. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, he's just working hand in hand with them.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah, that's all scary. Wouldn't you love to know, his ex-wife has so much dirt on him and she started to tell some of it. I would love to know the truth of what she thinks about him.
Oh,
well, she's lucky she hasn't been unalived yet.
You're right. I'm surprised she's still on this planet.
Yeah, me too. And he just, to me, it's stick in the business that you're good at.
Yes.
Yes. And just stay there.
Yeah. Stay there and do all of your computer stuff.
That's right.
If he's going to give a virus, it's the same thing. It's like with the computer, he gives all the equipment, gives all of the things that you need for a computer, and then they give it a virus. So then you have to pay something else to get rid of your virus. It's the same thing with humans. They give us a virus so they can fix us with their big pharmaceuticals.
That's right. That's right. And if there's a cure to any of the cancers or diseases or major illnesses, if there's a cure, well, what does that do? That halts the productivity and the use for major amounts of drugs. So, you wonder, how we're, sending people to the moon and how we've got satellites everywhere and we're doing all this amazing space exploration. And yet, we don't have a cure for any of these diseases. I don't believe it. I don't buy it for a second.
Well, and this is why this goes hand in hand with your story about the fentanyl inside gummies. That's just, okay, just thinking about that just Anyway.
Yeah, what sicko does that?
So check this out. Marijuana is one of the things that's bringing down a lot of things in big pharma, because it really helps with a lot of symptoms and everything. So some of the stuff that you get from big pharma that's very invasive on your body and causes health issues can be supplemented with marijuana.
Right.
Well, I think that them putting fentanyl in gummies, I think someone is campaigning to try and discredit marijuana. It just seems like because why would you put fentanyl in a damn gummy? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Something is so weird about that. Do you know where that happened? I only briefly heard that story.
I'm going to tell you in just a second.
Because that's scary. You send your child to elementary school and you don't expect two things that are now happening so much in school. And the conspiracy theorist in me is like, why is more than ever fentanyl and those kind of drugs showing up in our school? Of course, it's obvious the border's open and fentanyl's flooding in. And just the other day, a friend of mine told me that she teaches in the Hazelwood School District, and I won't say who it is because she's a listener of the show, and I don't know if she wants to say that, but it was one of her family members was an educator where a kid brought a loaded gun to school, and loaded, and it's a special ed class. Could you imagine what could happen? And if you mix the fentanyl and the loaded gun in schools, this is crazy these days.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Well,
and
I do want to say real quick, when it comes to marijuana, it is safe to smoke because you cannot lace marijuana with fentanyl because fentanyl doesn't smoke. You can't ingest it by smoking. It just burns up. So...
Well, that's good to know.
So it was purposeful is what you're...
that's what I'm thinking.
Right, somebody must have done it on
You know what,
purpose.
Joe? Wouldn't today be a perfect day for you to turn the camera on you?
If I had it set up, I didn't have time again.
I know,
Bummer.
because we were hoping that because you really have brought to light things about the cannabis industry that I wouldn't have known without listening to the show, because like I said, I was an educator. I would never have dreamt to do that.
Well, I consume it, and I like to educate myself on things that I consume. So
correct.
Yes.
Well, and so many of our listeners also consume it, and it's not this. And a lot of them don't consume it just because they want to drink it like a margarita. You get drunk. They like the way it feels. Many people have told me they felt more focused. And that sort of thing too. So there's a lot I have to learn that I don't know.
If you take an antidepressant, anybody out there, if you take an antidepressant, this is an antidepressant that won't make you want to kill yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or off yourself or unalive yourself.
Right. Yeah, we had talked about that yesterday, that look at all of the drugs that our kids are on today that they weren't on even 10, 15 years ago. And you see them on commercials that the side effect is often unalived. And you know why I'm saying the word unalived. I don't want the show to go down. And so, it's just, and we wonder why our poor kids these days are having such issues, because so many good, well-intentioned parents have listened to the doctors who then listen to big pharma and have their kids on Ritalin and Adderall and antidepressants. And then if they're having any issues besides that, just normal middle school angst, then you add bullying on top of that. There's no wonder that there isn't people that just go up and shoot up a school.
That's right. Well, and two, to get back to the fentanyl yesterday with the elementary children, that was in Virginia.
In Virginia,
So,
okay.
And several children were having major reactions to it. How the fentanyl got in gummy bears,
it was actually gummy bears?
It was gummies. I believe gummy bears.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was
I think because you can make your own like marijuana gummy. If you have marijuana, the actual like flower, the plant matter, you can make your own gummy. So somebody decided they were going to make gummies out of fentanyl, which is just stupid.
And you can do that. The only
it's
issue,
cruel.
It is cruel. It is cruel. I know that years ago, my oldest child had a party and he soaked gummy bears in vodka.
Yeah, you can do it with alcohol.
Yes, and just left it. And hours later, my youngest, who at the time was 3, started puking up gummy bears because she thought they were just normal. And so she ate So, I mean, and she was sick. I mean, we took her to the doctor and she was fine, but because she puked them all up.
So
Yeah.
anybody out there with edibles or making your own edibles, be really careful around kids.
Yes,
That's
because
right.
we lived it. Gummy bears, you give them to your kids all the time. And then if you lace them with anything, that's a real problem.
Well, that's right. So, in any adult that's using anything recreational,
Yeah.
I mean, you just really have to be hyper aware when you are in any environment when there's
Yes.
children around.
Correct.
You really do, because you're taking a chance of not knowing what's in something. Well, even if you know what's in something, it's most of it could kill a child at a certain volume.
Yeah, they don't have limits. They don't know boundaries. So something that an adult would take one or two and they take a whole handful of them and then eat it, they could get violently ill, and you hope they throw it up, because if they don't, it's all through their bloodstream.
Yeah. And I don't know what to say about all of the young people today, whether, the recreational drug use, but also, Lizzie, like you were saying, is just mental illness has gone through the roof.
Yeah, it
so
has.
Antidepressants, and like you were saying, Ritalin for, ADHD, and just, all of these, drugs that are being used to treat, young people is just, it's off the charts.
It is off the charts. I remember I had a neighbor years ago. He was a pharmaceutical rep, and he found out I owned a preschool, and he said, okay, this is the order of things that are going to come down. Have you noticed them in your preschool? And he started rattling off, like kids would be ADD, and then kids would be ADHD. And then you would see a bout of kids that were bipolar. And then you would see bouts with kids with depression. And he was going on and on and on and on. And it was exactly, I owned it for over 26 years. And it was exactly the order in which he said, because he said, we are going to make your kids sick. So then you have to medicate them. And he was telling me all kinds about the foods and all of that. And I watched the kids that, exactly like he said, would have the reactions. There would be kids that were ADHD, and then there were kids that were on the spectrum. And a lot of times that was from the vaccines. And so I'm very leery of anything you ingest in your body, especially with small children, because there's an agenda out there.
That's right. And Paul, you had mentioned just over the last 15 years that people were putting fentanyl into heroin, and that's absolutely right. And the reason for that, again, is that it's inexpensive to put the fentanyl into heroin. And so you're going to give people that quick high that they want, and it's cheap. So it just went around and around, and people were just literally dying left and right. And so were young people.
Yeah.
Now they've got the Narcans and, things like that the, police and EMS and everyone carries with them to help when they come upon someone that's in respiratory distress.
Right. And I don't have anything against the Narcan, because if it was my child that needed it, I would hope it's in the police cars. I just wish they would make, we got Trisha that's a listener, and we've got many other listeners and friends, that is diabetic and have different forms of that. And yet they have to break the bank every month to afford to live with those pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that's right. And that's just horrible too. There's an epidemic of not being able to afford the necessary medicines for your disease or your illness. And, insurance companies as well. That's a whole nother ball of wax that they just, it's all money driven. And, everything has doubled in price.
It has doubled. It is so true. You hear about people that you go to the store, and if you buy a bag of Doritos, before Biden got into office, you could buy that bag of Doritos for $2, maybe $2.25. Now that same bag of Doritos is got a littler bag with half of it filled, and it's $5.75. So I just cannot believe the prices. And the young people today, unless they have a really great job and not a starter job, they're going to have a hard time making ends meet. They're really behind.
Well, and another interesting fact about how great Biden is doing, and he is just, boosting our economy, and there's no inflation, is, 2020 eggs were $1.56. And today, right now, an average of $2.76.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
That just, just goes to show how wonderful he's doing.
Yeah.
At keeping our prices down and letting families eat, and, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so crazy. I just, while we're talking about Biden, we'll go ahead and mention him. We've got a clip that Biden is telling the press to hush up. And he's announcing that he signed $200 million to go to Ukraine. So, Joe, if you could play that.
Karen, before the press. Hey, whoa, hush up a second, okay? I got one more thing to say. I just signed another $200 million drawdown from the Department of Defense for Ukraine, and that'll be coming quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. President Biden, are you mad at me? President Biden, are you mad at me?
This guy is insane. Joe, you can shut that off because it goes on and on. Is that not insanity when you see that? Okay, so with everything else that's going on in the world, dumbass is sitting there with the other, dumbass from Ukraine, and he's got the shit-eating grin. For any of you that can't see the video, our president of the United States, our selected president, is sitting there with a dumbass look on his face, and he's telling the press to hush up. And you can't even understand the press anyway, because they're all just
well, they're all probably asking him questions like, why are you doing this?
Yes.
Aren't there things that we could be using that money on here? And he's just sitting there smiling, looking at everybody like, yeah, just keep talking.
Whatever. And it's just, we were just talking about the drugs and the problems in our own country. And we have so many issues here in the United States, some self-afflicted, but many afflicted by the fact that our border is wide open and coming up here. And if they could take this $200 million and all the billions they've already sent to Ukraine to close our border, we wouldn't even be talking about half of this.
Oh, absolutely. And, that whole press conference was chaos.
Yes.
On both ends, on his end, because again, I don't know if you guys could understand anything that he was saying during his, while he was speaking, but also just the chaos in the press room. I was shocked because you literally cannot even hear a clear question being asked. It was like people were literally just yelling.
Yes.
And that was it. And he, like Joe said, he sat there with a grin on his face because he doesn't want to have to speak.
Correct.
He doesn't want to have to answer the press. He doesn't want to have to answer any questions in regards to why he wants to give this amount of money to Ukraine.
Yes.
More money, and pushing Congress to, push all of these things through. When is enough going to be enough? Because as he has said a million times, this war is going to continue for a long time. It has deep roots and it's going to continue. So when do we stop giving money? When we've got, all of these other issues going on within our country. And then we've got Israel too. And when you've got celebrities, like Cardi B coming on and saying that there's a problem.
Yes.
That there's a problem.
Yes. I couldn't believe when she said that, because it's like she's calling it out.
She, and she actually made a ton of sense. She said, we do not have the money for this. We need to fix what's going on here first.
Correct.
Before we just keep giving our money away.
Yes. And I believe, and I think many other people believe too, this is a proxy war. It's our uniparty is purposely making these wars. War is very beneficial to the uniparty and the people in DC. They make a lot of money on it. They don't care that blood is shed. They don't care that lives are being destroyed daily, because we're just peons to them. Right. We are nothing to them. We are taking their resources. We're having babies, and they don't want us to. They want to take our country and depopulate it, and they just are doing it. People are falling for it.
Oh, absolutely. And Joe Biden said yesterday that if Congress does not push this through, that Russia will have the greatest Christmas present that they've ever received. And, of course, I don't want Russia to try and gain anything else, that they already have. Them, China, North Korea, they are serious people that we need to keep under control. So yes, I want Ukraine to flourish and, and to keep Russia from doing any more damage or taking over
Mhm.
control.
Mhm.
But again, what can we do
Correct.
without putting, boots on the ground
Right,
and
right.
stopping it?
We need to just stay out of these wars. And I agree with everything that you just said, but we need to keep our noses out, take care of our own country. And they're not our allies.
Right.
Ukraine is not our ally. So we are not obligated in any way to help him. But we already know that so many people, like Dick Morris has said, Biden is totally been sold out to China, to Ukraine. I mean, we know that. The sad part is we don't know that many of our counterparts here in America either care about that or they're aware of that.
Oh,
Many people think, oh, the war could come over here, so we need to, send troops over there. And I was one of those. I used to believe that was the thing to do. Now I'm realizing we've sent so many of our wonderful patriot military men and women and had boots on the ground for what? For what?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tragic.
I mean, Afghanistan, perfect, example. We go in, we're there, we establish, a wonderful system for women, for children, for education, for voting, for jobs, all of it. And as soon as we pull out, it went right back to what it was before.
Mhm.
So they're back to Sharia law. The women and children are not, being allowed to leave the homes without being fully covered, getting their education, their jobs. And we don't know how to go into a country, establish some sort of government and follow through.
That's exactly right.
We just don't know how to do that. And it's, if we went into Ukraine, same thing would happen.
Yes, yes.
So,
and we say this all the time here on the show that there really isn't anyone in DC at the moment that would do anything different. There's no one up there. And I think that's why President Trump, again, and I call him President Trump, that is my opinion. It may not be the opinion of everybody on this show, but I think the election was stolen from him. And he's the only one that would do something very severe now. And that's what they don't want. He would get this war stopped. I really believe, I don't know that he could stop it in a day, but I think he could stop these proxy wars in less than 2 weeks. But the bigger thing is it wouldn't have even happened to begin with.
No, it wouldn't have. And that's part of the biggest issue that I have with Joe Biden is that people do not respect him.
No, they don't.
They do not. And Trump, yes, he's got a big mouth, but guess what? People step back and they listen. When he comes into a room, he has absolutely no problem sitting at a table with any diplomat from any country, and he will say, "No, we're not going to do that. This is how we're going to do it." He has nothing to lose. And, I believe that he's truly fighting for our country. I mean,
yes.
It's not like he's trying to gain money or fame.
Correct.
He's had that.
Correct. Yes.
For years. And so I truly believe that he would go in and fight for us.
Yes, I believe that too. Hello.
Hello.
Well, and speaking of fighting for people, here they are. Here they are. We were just talking about people that fight for the country, and the Stricks are coming in
lately.
Yes,
No.
Yeah, we got
Gave
some
that
fights.
up a while ago.
You gave up fights. You have fights.
I mean, if you have to, you have to, right?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, at some point you have to do the right thing. And speaking of the right thing, we have Kathy and Steve Strick in.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good
You look pretty
morning.
in pink.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, you've got the women here today. So,
Yes.
Steve, you're,
Girl power.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you,
kind of,
you and Joe.
Take a
I'm
seat,
good.
babe.
It's you
Got a
guys.
seat right over there for you, honey.
I'm good.
yeah.
All right. Relax.
There you go.
Yeah. No, you have to come in. So Vic isn't here. And so Megan, I always call her Megan, but she's Megan. She's got a fancy name.
Me.
Fancy
Megan
schmancy.
Moret. Yes. And she's very knowledgeable about all the things that we talk about. And she's been an avid listener. And she came to the attention of Vic and I because she sends us great things all the time that we often use on the show.
Oh, nice.
So we really enjoy having her, and I'm really excited that she's here. And I know that she's excited to talk to you guys
Yes,
too. And
lots of
she's got some questions for
Good.
you
New
about.
blood today.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
Awesome.
So how are you guys doing today?
Good. We're busy. We've got a little family vacay coming up, so we've got to
Nice.
be prepared for Christmas and vacay all by the end of this week. So it's
Oh,
Now, are you
crunch
going
time.
on vacation during the holiday?
right up into Christmas? Yeah.
Really? Okay, where are you
Somewhere
going?
warm.
Can you say?
We're going to Cabo.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we're
fun.
taking the kids and their little significant others.
Love that.
To go have some sun and relaxation
fun.
before the craziness of Christmas. And so
that's perfect to do it before Christmas.
Yeah, that is. I think that's
That
great.
makes sense.
I think that's
I'm
great.
cool with doing it all the way through Christmas.
I could
Yeah.
see. That would be fun too to have Christmas there.
I would like to one of these years like do actual Christmas somewhere.
It might be this year. Who knows?
You just might not come back.
Into extending.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I think is really cool is you guys, I heard the word significant others that you're taking. I think that's a wise idea. If you ever have, a child that's dating someone and you think it may be serious, take them on vacation because they will either see how your family lives or they don't. We took our two oldest kids that they had two different significant others and that they're married to now. And we took them to Disney World and they were the biggest puss faces the entire time. And this is before Disney went woke or anything. And it was just a lot of fun. And they were really not very nice during the whole trip. And that was very enlightening on who they would be if they enmeshed into our family. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to you.
No, it will.
But yeah. So if you go there and they can't mesh with you on vacation, that's a good indicator. Okay, that's probably not the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we
we've had good luck with that. I mean, we've had
good.
Yeah.
Well, I think had
for the most part.
couple,
Yeah, for the most part. This will be good. No, we know their significant others really well.
That's great.
That's good.
So, there was that one time though. Remember we brought that person. I'm not going to use any names.
That person. But you said that person.
We brought her to Mexico for a business trip. So Kathy brought her team to Mexico. We used to bring the team to Mexico every single
when we
year.
were smaller, we would take everybody every.
Oh, how fun!
This girl gets there and she's like, "Oh my god, the food is cold." Oh my! I'm like,
the last place I stayed was nicer than this place. Like,
wow!
I think she worked for us for like 3 weeks and she got a free trip out of it and bitched the entire time.
Well, that's good, I guess, to take employees too, because if they can't be grateful
that
their boss did that,
as an employee, she didn't last.
Well, I think anytime you take someone out of their comfort zone, travel with them, you can really get a good idea of who they are.
But I will give a tip going back to taking your significant others on trips.
Yeah.
Make sure you take enough photos but they're not in it.
Yes. I've learned to put them on the end.
Put
them on the wall.
Put them on the end so
put them on the
chop
end.
them off when they break up later because there's so many pictures that we cannot use.
Yes.
That pop up in memories and we're like, dang it, we can't
You see a lot of pictures of Kathy by herself this trip and something's going on.
Then you know why. Yes.
Steve's arm.
Yeah.
Like cut out. Yeah.
That's really good advice because there's many pictures that we couldn't use either. So I have learned to say
great pictures.
And I'll be like, okay, you guys, just the related fam in this picture and then the next one. Yeah. And I know that might make them feel uncomfortable, but that shouldn't if they cared about
You're on the
kid.
chopping block.
That's right. Yes. They have to earn their right to be with your child. Is how I feel.
And make sure that when you're having somebody else take your picture, review them before you walk away.
So we have the best story. When we were at Cabo several years ago, we've taken our kids to Cabo for many years because we have like a what do you call it? A fractional ownership.
Okay, good.
We had a club down there. And we asked somebody, a random on the street at the harbor, to take our family picture, right? So he's like, yeah, no problem. So he's standing there, he's taking all these pictures. We're posing, I think everything looks good. He's like, did you get him? He's like, yeah, I got a bunch of them, some good ones. So he hands us the camera, he walks away. It's like, okay. So we're like rushing to get to the restaurant and stuff. And so finally I opened the camera and I start scrolling and all the pictures were from our waist down.
Oh my gosh. On purpose? I bet
because it's where tourists are.
Yes.
He's like, sure, I'll take your picture.
It was hysterical.
We were dying.
So I posted that. I was like, make sure you
That is actually
But now
funny.
that comes up in the memories every so once in a while. So our family is hysterical laughing because it's such a memory.
I love
it. We were
it.
so impressed with what we were going to look like in this
Knees
picture.
down.
And it was literally our waist down.
That's the best. That's the best.
Yeah.
All right. Megan.
Yes.
You have some questions. You said.
Okay, well, so I do want to talk about the end, the hedge, and all that. I do. I want to know more about that. And when you're done with that, I would love to ask you just questions about the latest and greatest in health. The results that people are seeing. I don't know if anybody has seen Oprah lately.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So,
she's not admitting to it at this point, but there's lots of speculation.
Yeah.
And she's not saying that she isn't taking it either.
That's right.
But she's reversing her age.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
That's right. And she's admitted 1,000 times in her life, she hates to work out.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
So, apparently now she's working out, at least 2 times a week. But when you have a significant weight loss like that, I think we all know that there's something else to it.
Yes.
And just like, how it works for people. And I think a lot of women especially are really, they just have a lot of questions about, what the effects of a lot of these new, what treatments are.
Yeah. So the medical weight loss treatments that everybody, in case everybody hasn't heard about Oprah, is a suspect that she's taking the Ozempic route, which is Ozempic, Wegovy, those type of diabetic drugs that have a big side effect of weight loss. And the active ingredient in those are semaglutide and tirzepatide, which we offer, at the clinic. Tirzepatide is quite a bit more expensive than semaglutide at this point. So semaglutide is usually the go-to for most people. And a lot of people are having huge success with pretty significant weight loss because it slows your gastric emptying. It takes away your appetite, really takes away your appetite. And it affects how your blood and insulin are working. So you do see a lot of people that have some pretty immediate results from it. Then you have some people that are like, oh, I tried it for 2 months and I didn't lose anything or I lost a pound or whatever. But the thing is, if they stick long enough with it, eventually that kicks in. Like your body is getting used to it. And there's a very low dose that you start with too. So a lot of people that say it doesn't work, typically probably 80% of them didn't give it enough time to see it happen. So I would say we have a really, really good result.
It works.
Is there a plateau that happens with this? Or, and also, how long do you continue to take this?
Yeah. Well, depends on, there's not super long studies yet that have showed what the rebound effect is. I heard something on the, media saying if you stop taking it, you could expect to gain back 2/3 of what you lost. But that's with anything, right? So anything that you fad diets or you work out like a fiend and then you stop working out like a fiend, sometimes your body weight resets, sometimes it doesn't. And we don't know yet if this is going to actually reset like your midline of what your average body weight is. So there is maintenance that you can go on with it. There's some pill forms that have come out recently. We haven't really started playing with those yet, but they'll be coming down the pipeline. But yeah, you can taper off of it. I know there's people that I have talked to that are in that phase that take a much lower dose and they still have the same effects. They're not gaining the weight back. Their appetite's not really coming back significantly. So it seems like you can.
So would you say that it's a great kickstart to a healthy lifestyle? Like kind of like that kickstart?
That's the key.
Okay.
And everybody isn't going to work out. But they're never going to.
Right. But they're never going to anyway.
She's talking physically work out.
Yes. Right. I can say that I have not changed I am on semaglutide. And I started with the very low dose and that went on for several months with really no side effects, whatever. And I lost 10 pounds with changing nothing. I'm an avid walker, but I don't really lift weights or whatever, but I keep up the walking. I am now on I would call it what they call it, the middle dose or whatever. And I saw drastic body changes. Like I'm fitting in clothes that I couldn't fit before. And starting this Thursday, I will go in the highest dose. And what I've noticed is it's really good for me sleeping because I can almost feel my body's working, and everything's working right. So I had major insomnia. And a great side effect is I sleep through the night now because I'm so tired, not during the day, but I think my body's just working that by the time I go to bed, and this is not scientific, this is just my opinion.
Sure.
But when I go to bed, I'm tired and I'm tired and I sleep through the night and wake up totally fine.
Yeah.
So I'm a testimony to the fact that it took maybe 3 months for the 10 pounds to come off, but the 10 pounds is a lot. I mean, that was a lot. And I did change
for you. The scale.
Yeah, I finally did look at the scale. I finally did. So I'm probably over that now because it was a good month before when I did that. And that was without changing my lifestyle at all with exercising. Now I changed my food habits because I crave nothing bad for me.
That's right.
That's great.
You don't really
and that
crave
doesn't happen
anything.
to everybody.
Yeah.
I crave sweets still in the beginning. For some reason, I was like, man, all I want is sweets.
Yeah.
But I couldn't eat very many of them. Which is good because normally when you're starving yourself and then you have that craving, you go binge eat.
Yes.
Right.
So this doesn't allow you to do that because you're literally like, if I take another bite, I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, which is really great. I crave like a candy bar here or there, which I was
Yeah.
not, but I used to really want chips and salsa. I don't really care to have that. But what I really crave now is like meat and vegetables
Protein.
and protein. Yeah.
Good.
So that's the hope, though. You know, when people start to see change, maybe there's a mental change as well.
Correct.
Because
That's where
if you don't change that, or you change the way that you're doing things, and you do get off something,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
you know, the rebound effect could
Yeah.
happen. But you know, if you're going into it thinking, I'm doing this because I want to lose weight, I want to feel better, I want to be healthier, keep the freaking mindset after you're done taking it.
Yes.
And don't blame it on something else. Blame it on yourself.
Yeah. Some people just need that motivation at first because let's face
Takes
it,
time.
it's hard to just change your diet overnight.
Yes.
It's hard to get up and work out like a crazy person to see the weight come off. Like it's discipline
Well, and for
it's
us
hard on your
women,
body.
it's you know, as we age, our hormones
don't allow for the results to happen as quickly as they used to.
Well, yeah,
right?
and you don't burn like you used to.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to be able to eat and do anything I wanted to and never gain a pound.
So, but think about the times that you did push through those plateaus, right? And then you started seeing results. The results make you then go, all right, I'll go do that workout again. So if this can help you to get over that hump, to see the results, it then goes, maybe I'll add walking to my diet because I like how I'm looking and feeling.
Right.
And I want to increase that. So maybe I'll add walking. Maybe I'll change my eating habits and then make this work even better.
Yeah.
So to
You get
me, I
excited
feel
about
like
it.
it's a benefit. And also it's a benefit because a lot of people are pre-diabetic with the weight that they're heading towards.
Yeah.
So if we
That's
can stop
scary.
that, reverse that, go backwards, get them excited about what they're looking like and feeling like, that then is a catalyst for a better, healthier lifestyle.
How did everyone get so overweight so fast?
Have you seen what America
what
eats and the
happened?
chemicals in our
FDA.
food and the hormones in our food
And
and
the sports,
everything
they
else?
don't go outside and play anymore.
Oh my gosh.
You know, that's all we had to do.
Yeah,
back
all
in
the
day.
processed food and
Yeah.
sitting
And as
there
busy as everybody is, you know, people don't have time to cook healthy. Like that's part of my thing. I would
Yeah, that's
love
my
to
problem.
eat healthier, but if I think about the time to go grocery shop, research the food that I should be eating with what food that I should be eating and the macros and all that stuff, go to the grocery store, buy all that, then you got to
What
cook
about the
it.
expense?
The expense of it,
Sometimes
and
when
then
you're
eat it
expensive to
before
eat
it
healthy.
spoils. Because half the time I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go buy all these vegetables, and I come home, and then you don't feel like eating them the next day. And then all of a sudden they're rotten in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
That's
how
so
many times
true.
have people
And
done that?
organic, forget about
Yes.
it. I mean, it's twice as much.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So it's tough. It's
Yeah,
tough.
it is.
And one thing I do want to warn people about, I haven't researched this medically, but I've heard it a couple of times come up. If you're on semaglutide and the Govies and the Ozempics and stuff, and you have a surgery coming up, make sure you tell your doctors that you're on it. Because I think people forget that that's a medication sometimes. And from what I heard, I saw somebody post one time that they were getting a surgery. I think they were getting like a facial, some sort of a face surgery, maybe a lift or something like that. And they had said, oh, like I didn't realize when I told my surgeon that I'm on semaglutide, that instead of the standard like 12 hours of not eating and drinking something, there was an extended
wow.
time
Okay.
for
That makes
because
sense.
think about it's not moving through your system as fast as
true.
your normal, so that you need to make sure you're not going to have
so
problems
it's
with
nothing to do with
anesthesia.
clotting. It's more
It's like
just
the anesthesia
that your stomach's
thing.
not
Yeah,
empty.
your
Okay.
stomach's not empty. So make sure you talk to your doctors if you're on that.
Good point.
And let them
Good
know if
point.
you've got any type of surgery where you're getting anesthesia.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys.
You're
I
welcome.
love learning all about that.
Yeah, it's exciting. We love it too. We're still learning too.
Yeah.
Right?
Every
You know,
day.
we're not the medical people of it,
Yeah.
but we're trying to learn that as much as possible because we love talking to people about it and we want to give them informed information.
And I saw pictures of your new location. And I think, was it
Yes.
Kathy, was it you standing in there?
It was Steve and me and a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Steve's dad's our contractor, so he was at some of them.
I love it.
Yeah, so we were there picking out the flooring and like we've got to we just did the demo. You can talk about that. You were there.
I mean, the demo's done. The floor is up. It's a blank canvas right now for us.
That's great.
Which is exciting. This lands on my responsibility of the clinics. You know, locally is I take care of the leases and deal with all of that, and then manage the construction and make sure that that's going well. So for me, it's exciting. I was talking to somebody the other day that has a small business. And they're like, "How's the build out going? Doesn't it suck?" And I'm like, "No, man, this is exciting.
It's the good stuff
because you get to see physical progress every day."
For sure.
So no, it's going great. I think 60 days will be rocking and rolling.
Oh,
That's great. And could you tell everybody where your new location is and all the locations, and also you don't have to be around here in order.
Nope.
You can tell a
You can
doctor.
do telemed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That's
So
amazing.
we've got a clinic in O'Fallon, Illinois. We've got a clinic in Ladue. We've got a clinic going in Lake St. Louis, open in 60 days, which is on Ronald Reagan Drive, directly across from Walmart. We've got another one I'm negotiating a lease in Valley Park, which is Big Ben and Doherty Ferry.
Nice.
So it's right by the corner pub or tavern or Shack restaurant, if anybody knows what that is.
So great locations.
Great locations. We're opening in Leawood, Kansas in about 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we're in talks about moving Fenton forward pretty quick within the next few months. And then we'll have another one by the end of the year, maybe 2, who knows.
Yeah.
Good for you. And this is something that people really want these days because of our lifestyles and because people, sit in front of computers and eat processed foods. They do need that kickstart, a healthy kickstart with people that know what they're talking about, which is great.
And you're going to see a lot more social media dropping now. So we've been filming some content, some ads, some really powerful things to educate people that are out there, but you're also going to see us, for lack of a better term, pimping our patients and their losses because they're excited about it. And of course, they're giving us
their wins,
authority to do
their
that.
losses are their wins.
Their wins, their losses are their wins.
Somebody on here asked about gains, though.
Yeah, I'll talk about gains.
Address that.
Yeah, but we're going to be putting it out there. We're going to show the world the changing that we're doing with people's lives and taking diabetes out of their future and things like that. But somebody was talking about gains.
What if you have problems holding on weight? Is what somebody said.
So one, you need to get your blood work done.
Boo-hoo to you.
Right. So sad.
But for a guy, that's the
I'm
thing.
teasing.
What if I was like losing weight every day? I'd be like, what the
No, it's true. And what people don't understand, I was married to a very thin person, and my son is a very thin person like his dad. So many people are be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so skinny. Oh my gosh, are you losing weight?" That is as much of an insult to skinny people as, "Oh my gosh, you look like you're fat. You're gaining weight."
Right.
My son,
and people don't realize
my son's
don't
like that
realize
too.
they say that stuff all the time. So I was kidding when I said boo-hoo.
Yeah.
But that's an opposite problem of what a lot of people have. But
you need to get your blood work done because it could be something that's throwing that off. And, sometimes you're low on a vitamin that's really not absorbing certain nutrients, which is going to cause you to lose weight. The other thing is you have to eat more. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm losing weight." It's like, what do you eat?
Right.
I talk to guys all the time. How do I put on muscle? How do I
testosterone
what are
might
you
be
eating?
low.
You have to eat more.
Yeah.
Testosterone. Well, that's why you need to get your blood work done first.
Yeah.
So that will point you
Some
in the
peptides,
direction
some
of some
hormones
things that you
can
need
make
to
a
fix.
difference.
And Paul just asked, what's the average cost for this type of blood work?
So blood work, we're having a special for Lake St. Louis, which is only going to be $100.
That's great.
$100 gets all of
Awesome.
your blood work done for the entire year and moving forward. So this is below low cost.
Yes.
And typically it's $150, which is not much at all. And we go through LabCorp, which is a national lab, and we're going to take care of all of those things that you need to know as far as your diagnostic check is concerned. That's what I like to refer the blood work to. And then we'll get you moving onto your optimal lifestyle.
And somebody asked about some glucose. I want to say I think we're at $350 a month.
$350. That's the start, right?
Yeah, $350 a month for the
which is lower than market rate. By the way.
$350 a month. Okay.
Well, you figure you save that in the food you don't eat. Literally.
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
100%.
Yeah. I mean,
Even
it
the
sounds
Starbucks
like
coffees and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't.
That's
you
right.
kind of like, I found myself going for a while still because it was a habit.
Yeah.
To go to Starbucks and have that in my hand and feel it in my mouth, the taste, but I could not finish them.
Right.
They were too rich.
That's
and it's just like,
interesting.
A lot of markets, if you
That's
look
true.
nationally, they're $450, $500 a month.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the money you'll save on Starbucks will pay for your
100%.
Trust
100%.
me.
Yeah. Your chips, cookies, whatever else
Yeah.
you're eating. You might still eat those, like you said, but you can't finish it now.
I don't finish a whole bag of chips. Those little bags of chips that have shrinkflation. What you're
That
talking
put
about?
less chips in them now.
That's right.
don't-
That's right. Maybe just for us.
Shrinkflation.
Yes.
Shrinkflation, for
There's
sure.
nothing in those
No,
bags.
there's
No, it's
nothing.
like-
You know?
But even with
Air.
that, like I would get my typical Jimmy John's sandwich, my turkey sandwich, and my thing of chips, I can eat like maybe half the sandwich and half that bag of chips. And I'm like, oh, I'm done.
Done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very true.
Well, thanks.
no
I
problem
didn't
eating.
want to hide you. I want you guys to be able to talk about your real
No,
estate.
this
too.
is
Okay.
good.
No,
this is
We
good.
Talk
you.
about it.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay. So now you wanted to talk to them about a hedge fund?
Yeah. What's going on with this the hedge fund, and people are going to have to start paying and, to live in a single family home. What is this all about?
Yeah. So apparently, and I haven't dug into it yet this week because we've been so crazy, but I guess Biden put out something, a proposal to end hedge funds from being able to buy single family homes.
Right.
If they
Or
have
put some
over
limits to it.
75 in their portfolio. Correct.
So you looked into
They'll
it
have
one
to
week.
sell them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be a $10,000 per year fine
That is unreal.
per violation.
It really is.
So
Is that
you know,
is that
I
in
think
effect
it's-
now?
I think it's good.
Isn't that what Eric was looking for? Remember all the time?
Yes.
We need to outlaw hedge funds from buying. So we actually ran into Eric last night. He was going to maybe pop in today. So I was going to talk about this with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
would've been
really?
good.
Okay.
Yes, because this is near and dear to him. But
Yes, it is.
I don't know if it's a bad thing necessarily to put some parameters
I know.
on it, because it is kind of sad to see that a lot of the affordable housing is being swooped up by the funds.
Yes.
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 And I don't know if people can afford those entry homes so much anymore. They can't. They can't
No.
afford them so much anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds great on paper. It really does. So now we're going to stop all the hedge funds from having 75 plus single family homes in their portfolio. Or do they start a new corporation and buy 74 with the other one?
Yes.
And
Yes.
74 with the other,
Mhm.
So there has to be some serious guidelines around it. I don't like the generality.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah. Generality of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talking about just being able to afford the single family homes.
Mhm.
So our kids, when they get old, mine, they're nowhere near being in a place to buy a home.
Good.
They're young. Now, will they be able to, when they get out of college, like we did, we were able to go and, it may not have been the biggest, greatest home, but we were able to go and get a nice small beginner house. Is that in the cards for these kids in the next
If
10
you
years?
start a fund for them
I
right
hope-
now.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
right.
I hope so. I
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think needs to change to make that, happen again? Just
Well,
everything,
a
just
lot
our
of things.
economy in general.
Yes.
Yeah, by
Our
that time,
economy, our
there's
wages.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all of the above.
And
really.
then the cost of living is just getting so crazy with the wages being as low as they are. And our generation, I don't know, I feel like the newest generation doesn't have as much drive and focus.
I
on
agree.
Yeah. Oh,
I agree.
absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
watching
Sure.
something the other
So,
day.
sorry,
and
guys.
Instagram, and the drive and focus. I'm sorry, but it's real. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
sorry.
is real.
Yeah.
It is
Because,
real. It is real.
Grew up where you had to work hard and still work hard, and
Yes.
she
Yes.
still works crazy hard, and I do the same. But I was watching something, and this girl was saying, "Well, you know why our generation doesn't want to work, and it's because when we get out of college, we don't have the wages to do anything that motivates us to work." Now I get that, right? But still, you got to put your time in
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
do.
earn
You
your
do.
keep, because you can't walk out and get a 6-figure job.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, you're not entitled to that.
Yes.
Show me why you are. I have somebody close to me that kind of has that mentality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, you need to really look in the mirror and see what's going on
Yeah.
right now,
And
because
that's
you're
a
not
lot of
giving the effort.
kids that this day and age, they
Most.
they want to live the lifestyle that their parents gave for them.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that they're privileged or whatever. We all want to do well for our kids. I know I do too. But then they get out and they're like, 45,000,
Well,
Right.
60,000.
They
Right.
want to live the lifestyle of the highlight reels they
Yeah.
see on social media too.
That
That's
too,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
There's no
social
grind.
media-
They have.
Yeah.
They don't even know what grind is.
No.
No.
I guess.
Correct. Correct.
And
Yeah.
and is it because I also think too that I'll speak for the generation I think that I'm in and maybe behind me, is that they are raising their kids so differently.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, it's
100%.
just baby,
Yes.
baby.
you have to treat your kid, and I'm a step
Yeah.
parent, but you've got to treat your kids the way the world's going to teach them.
Correct.
right.
The
Correct.
world does not care when you walk out that door. It will eat you up and spit you out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do that with your kids, but you have to prepare them to be ready for that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you're not,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
gonna be rough on them.
so do you think that when we do get a Republican back in office next year, do you think that
manifesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
Speak it into the universe, girls. Speak
That's
it.
right.
Speak it.
That's right.
Yes.
So when we do get a Republican back in, do you think that that'll kind of head things back in a better direction?
Well, if we get one that's a real estate guy, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. We
Oh,
want
gosh.
the real
I
estate
wonder.
guy. Yes. We wonder who that is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that is.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but that
I
would
don't
be really
either.
nice.
Yeah. A true,
Yeah.
a true
Well, he
person that
understands
wants to put America
business.
first.
That's
The
right.
United States is a business.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you ever
Mhm.
anybody says
Mhm.
you got to have somebody that's outside of the political world because
Absolutely.
it's so tainted.
Yes. I
It
agree.
absolutely is. Yeah. I mean, that we were talking about that earlier today. I mean, he has nothing to lose. You know, he has all the money, all the fame.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just need someone to go to bat for us.
Yes.
And he
we
wants
do.
it. Like
Yeah.
he wants to
Yes.
change it for us. Like you said, he has enough money. Who wants to walk into something and get criticized every single
Every
day
single
by
day.
half the United States?
Yep.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll do that because I need to change this place.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
and he's been criticized for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
he's already, he's got thick skin
Yeah.
and it just keeps getting
Yeah.
thicker and thicker.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Most people would cave under that, and he's not. So
Oh.
And
I
he,
think
and
that's
he
beautiful.
understands how real estate drives the economy too.
Correct. Real
Mhm.
estate
feel
is
like
it.
I think it's
It
the number
is.
one driver.
It is
Yeah.
the number one
That's
driver.
part
Yeah.
of part of our problem.
That's our thing.
Yeah.
I think in our country today, there's two really big problems. And one is, of course, our border, but then that also affects the real estate. And we've got to get someone that backs owning your own things.
Yeah. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. Yes, Pam
Mhm.
Trump.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Somebody asked too, as the semaglutide dosages go up, does the price go up? No, it does not.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
that's
And
that's
I've
good
noticed
to know.
it's been made easier too. So I do it at home.
Yes.
Instead of coming
Now
in.
it's
I
in
may
your
not do
changes.
that now that it'll be at Lake St. Louis. I may just go in. But although it's not a big deal doing it at home. And I've noticed that it just keeps getting easier to do. It was like you used to have to take the little
Yep.
needle and put it in the semaglutide. Now it's all, I
Now
mean,
we're
like, I can't
pre-filling
get any
it for
easier.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
because we were having
Preloaded.
people either not understanding how they were supposed, like getting their dosage wrong.
Yeah.
A few people, and then some of them like leaving a lot left. They were like, oh, I guess they were like putting the needle in wrong, and just
Yeah.
so much waste was happening in their own bottles that they were going home with.
Yeah.
So
Oof, that's not
we
good.
started pre-filling for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to do. I mean, it really is easy to do. You can go in and have them do it, or they've now made it. You can't make it any easier than you guys have done. So it's
And guys, it's a teeny tiny insulin needle, literally
tiny.
You
that
can't
big.
feel it.
Don't
No.
even feel it.
Nope.
Don't even feel it for you shot. For
Yes,
people.
for people like
No.
me that can't
You can't- you
stand needles.
honestly-
I mean,
you cannot.
you just
You won't
said that.
even
You're like, I
notice
do it at home, and my skin just went.
But
"Ooh."
that's what I was like first, because I am squeamish of needles, but I watch them do it, and either I do it or my husband does it. And I just do it like right here.
Yeah.
You can't
Mhm.
feel it at
There you
all.
go.
And then I also take B12,
Mhm.
and that doesn't really hurt either. And I thought it would, because the needle's a little bit longer,
needle's
but
longer
you
on
just
that.
do this to
Gauge
your
is a
arm
little
once
bit,
or twice, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, it's subcutaneous. It just has to go under the skin.
Mm-hmm.
For that, the B vitamins are intermuscular, so it's a little
Yeah,
longer
yeah.
to get into your muscle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, is there
Yes.
anything you want to add? Anything that we haven't hit today?
How about a fun little tidbit? I've been filming some ads coming out for real
Okay.
estate and stuff, and one of them that we're going to be touching on is what are the trends coming for 2024? So let's talk about some soft
Yes.
stuff instead of the hardcore real
Yes.
estate.
Yes.
And people are always excited to hear about what those are. So from what my research shows, and everybody's got a different opinion, of course, but from like House Beautiful designers and from the people over at House, HOUZ,
Mhm.
those people are saying that open floor plans are starting to go away. They're not as important to people. They're wanting more dedicated space.
Mm.
So you're starting to see more walls and floor plans coming up, a dedicated office area, not just a desk in a corner or in the bedroom. So you're seeing dedicated
More people working
offices.
from home, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of people working from home. And then as far as like the color trends, we get that all the time. And guys, St. Louis, I know this is nationwide. So St. Louis is always like a 5-year step
Behind. Yes.
of what's
yes.
happening. But browns, the browns and the creams and the earth tones are what's coming
Nice.
back in
Yeah.
again. Grays, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Stark whites are going bye-bye. Even like
Yeah.
in the cabinets, it's more off-whites and brown tones, natural woods
Yeah.
are back in. And then for the people that love color, there's definitely pops of color and inspiration rooms that are real big for people right now. So like vivid pinks or the color of the year, not Pantones, but the color that the designers are saying that's going to have its moment is chartreuse.
Chartreuse. Oh, I like that
And most
word.
people are like,
Chartreuse.
what's chartreuse?
That's going back to 70s.
Yes.
Look it up. It's that bright, almost neon green yellow. It's that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Chartreuse.
Chartreuse is supposedly going to be a popular
My
color for
parents
the
still have a
pops.
chartreuse toilet.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Do they also have
Oh,
like the
wow.
Golden Harvest refrigerator?
Well, actually, that was in my basement in my first home for
Okay.
about 5 years.
Yeah, I
and then it
because they
finally
last forever.
They do.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Everything made back then lasts forever.
And murals are making a huge.
I love
comeback.
murals.
I do too.
Yeah.
So in different ways, like I saw some pictures where they wrapped like the foyer staircase in a mural.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, it looked kind of cool.
I bet that's
That is
neat.
Or big wall murals that are like almost like art.
Yes.
So
I love
in
that.
vivid
That's neat.
colors. So that's something to think about that you can maybe do over the winter. Those would be some easy winter
Oh, that
projects
sounds
to
fun.
figure out somewhere unique that you could install a cool mural.
Nice.
Mhm.
Okay, and so you're going to be showing that in your new commercials? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
I have got some Facebook ads
She's
and
probably
stuff
gonna do it in
that
our own
we're
house.
talking
Good.
about.
Yeah.
I'm working on
Good.
some
Talking
things in
about
our
all kinds
house
of
as
stuff.
well. So yeah,
I can't wait.
We'll show some examples. And
Oh, I can't
anybody
wait
can
to
hit
see
me up,
that.
too.
Yeah.
That wants
Yeah.
some
You guys are
links.
so inspirational. I know my husband for years had been in real estate and he got out in 2020 or 2008 when it was bad. And the economy's bad now, but now my husband wants to come back in because he wants to work with them. And he's like diligently, it was on vacation this week. And so that's what he's doing on his vacation is hurry and getting all the stuff done so he can hurry up and go take his test and go hang out with them all the time.
Oh, wouldn't
Yeah.
that be fun?
Yeah. I mean, he has another job
Yeah.
too, but yeah.
But just for
Realtor,
fun.
A new old realtor on the scene.
Yeah. A new old
Yeah.
guy. The old guy's coming to work for you guys.
And you guys, people might talk about chocolate browns, but also light color browns that talk about it in textiles, in fabrics, in like the trim colors and wood colors, but not necessarily painting your entire inside of your house chocolate brown.
Yeah.
But we are seeing, still you see black walls, brown walls, that coffee bean color as accent colors. So that's what I mean by that. And if you painted white and you're, that's fine. A lot of people are still loving their whites and like with the natural floors. But it is ushering on its way out. More warmer.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just got rid of my warmer tones and went lighter. And now I don't know.
I'm white. I'm white everywhere.
You're white
everywhere. White everywhere.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes.
A lot of people like that white.
Yes. Well, I can't wait to see those videos.
Hey, if
I
you're
love
not
that.
selling and you like it, keep it as it is.
Yeah.
That's
there you
true.
go. There you go.
Worry
If
about
you
it
are
down the road.
selling and you want to get top dollar, then call me because we can make a few of those changes to get you in trend so that the buyers are hot to trot to.
That's awesome. Yeah.
There
So
you
if you're
go.
looking to sell your house, you know who to call. You know
Absolutely.
who to call. Well, thank you guys. Have a great lunch date. I'm assuming you're going
Megan.
to.
It was nice.
Yes.
Megan.
Thank
Talking
you
with you
guys.
today.
Thank you for answering all my questions. That was awesome.
Yes. Well, where are you guys going to lunch today?
No, it's always just
It's always
coffee.
a little
coffee.
There's
Yes,
coffee
coffee.
right after this, but yeah, we've got
smoothie, juice,
Smoothie,
we got
whatever.
lots to do today. We're on the 3-day countdown for.
Oh yeah.
getting
For
out of
the
here.
trip.
No,
Family's
that's
watching.
what I've been
enjoy.
saying.
Yes. Sleeps.
Three more sleeps.
Three more
Yeah.
sleeps.
Three more sleeps. That's what the
okay.
kids say.
So
Sleep,
I'm
we're
guessing. So next week you're going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know
Okay.
what?
So
Why don't we
no
do it
show.
from
Might have
Or-
to do it
Let
from
me-
the
let me-
beach.
let me see
Oh, I
what-
love that.
Let me
be
see what
nice.
happens Tuesday
Yeah.
night.
Okay.
Let
Okay.
me see what I have
We
planned.
might
Yeah.
be looking a little rough.
I was going to say,
Well,
see,
if
bring
you
the
don't
Mai
do it-
Tais right there on
That's
there
right.
on the screen with you.
Because I'll give you 5 minutes. Here's my drink.
We-
Okay, that's it.
We could do that.
Yeah.
I
Let's-
love it.
You know
We'll
what?
figure it
Forget
out.
it. Let's plan it.
We'll do
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Coming
do
to
it.
you live next week
Good.
from Cabo San Lucas.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you guys.
Yeah, and
Bye-bye,
safe
everybody.
travels.
Megan, it was
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Easy.
Thanks,
Always a pleasure.
guys.
Bye, you guys.
Have a great time and happy holidays.
Yes.
See ya.
I'm so glad that you got to meet them in
Yes,
person. because-
I just love learning, about real estate for sure.
Yes.
But I just love all the health and wellness and all the new things that are coming up because there's always something new coming up.
yes.
The latest and greatest in health.
Correct.
And it really is helping. I mean, not just the way that people are looking and losing weight. It's not just the vanity part of it, but it's truly the health end of it.
Correct.
So I've been holding back because I didn't want to interrupt their segment or anything, but you asked why America is getting so fat.
Yes.
Okay, well, here's why. This is our food pyramid, the FDA approved food pyramid.
I love this.
If you look at the bottom, they are telling us that pasta, cereal, like Lucky Charms. You know, they're telling us that this is all healthier than eating meat.
Boy, that's changed from when I grew up.
So they're telling us that one step down from sweets in a candy bar is meat.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And we should be eating bread all the time.
Right. And I love bread. That's really great. But gosh, it's just so funny. So what
the bread that's in the store now isn't even actually bread.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's really not. You have to search for whole grains.
You do.
I mean, you really do. Otherwise, it's just sugar and flour.
Yes. Yes.
And there's no nutritional value to it at all.
I'm just flabbergasted at this, Joe, because I haven't seen one of these food guide pyramids.
This is the newest one.
Time.
This is 2023 right
Unbelievable.
here. This is what our
Look
federal government is telling us is healthy.
And that's where, a lot of people be like, it's not FDA approved and blah, blah, blah. The FDA, it reminds me so much of the CDC that they're like the same.
I should say the U.S. Department of Health. Sorry.
Yes, U.S. Department. Because what did they used to call this? It was like something hierarchy,
the food pyramid.
Yeah, okay.
The food pyramid,
okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm older than you guys, so I remember there was actually a name of it. And if you guys on the chat line remember what the actual name, there was a name to this pyramid. And it was not like this. You had 4 food groups and you didn't have candy in it at all. And the pasta and all of that would not have been the biggest group at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
The highest carbohydrates is the healthiest for us, apparently.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
That
Hey,
is
what time
crazy.
is Sam coming in?
They're coming in
9:30.
around 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So we have a few minutes.
We do to talk about some of the other things that we had going on, because I know we've already talked about. Well, no, I'm glad you're chiming in. Like we already talked about.
Wish you were on the camera.
Yeah,
so you could
absolutely
be with us, like The View. Me, Lizzie, and Joe. The View.
The View. Could you imagine the? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think The View would invite us on there, though. Do you think they would?
The View wouldn't have me on for 5 seconds.
No, they would boot us both off and tell us to get the heck out of there. And I used to like Whoopi Goldberg or whatever her name is, and now she's just so insufferable with all the rest of them.
Well, you have to really not like people and want to be mean to be on that show.
Correct.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, they're mean. They are. They must be really unhappy people.
Really. Well, Joey Behar. Well, we could talk about her for an entire show. I think she's just a mean individual.
Yeah, wouldn't you love the psyche of what's in her brain that made her so insufferably mean?
I know. Yeah, she's bitter about something.
Yeah.
Maybe we should write her a letter.
We should write her a letter.
I think so.
Yeah, let's write her a letter. We need to do that and then see if she ever responds.
Yeah.
Just say, you're just not nice. You're just not nice, Joy.
Yeah.
Your name does not depict you.
We'd like to have you on the show and interview you.
Yes. Say, you're not joyful. We want to put some joy in your life, Joy.
That's right.
Oh, that is just terrible. Well, I guess we can, since we were talking about Trump to them, Joe, do we have the video where Laura Trump is telling someone, Eric Bolling on Newsmax, about Nikki Haley's? Do you have that video? Because apparently on Newsmax. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll go right into it. Here we go.
Would you ever pick Nikki Haley? Would you ever, as a VP, would you ever do that?
Crazier things have happened. I don't know. I would never say never with Donald J. Trump. Never say never.
You said that about Chris Christie. almost. All right, Laura, really, would you ever?
Okay, so that's very smart or very short. But the whole thing was, I think Eric Bolling, who is a huge Trump supporter, was trying to find out. What he was wanting was her to say, absolutely not.
Right, exactly.
We are not picking
just
Nikki
a nibble.
Haley. So she really couldn't answer that. But if I could talk to Donald Trump himself, I'd be like, don't do it again.
Right.
Don't pick her. I know that her numbers are going up, but why are her numbers going up? It's because Fox loves her.
Right.
Some of the other mainstream media loves her. The Uniparty loves her. And when Democrats are giving her money, we would just have, he would be like, literally, people can't see this, but it'd be like punching against a wall. He'd get nothing done with her.
Right. Well, and I think that with the group that they have running for the Republican party, she is the one. Well, she stands out, number one, because she's a woman.
Correct. Number one,
yes. Because she's a woman. And number two, she knows how to carry herself.
She does.
She can definitely get up there with the boys in the boys club, and she can take it, and she keeps going and she keeps going. And I think that her her stance on, the abortion, the transgender, and the war, I think that that's what's giving her that point of difference.
Yes.
Is her, her stance on these things.
Mhm.
And so but again, she never seems to be happy with Trump. She, just like Chris Christie, she doesn't go about it the same way, but she's
Mhm.
always got some way of making sure that people know that Trump, works her nerves.
Yes.
And so I don't know, what he would do.
I know. I don't know either. I would hope that he listens to himself and gets someone completely in his corner that he knows is America first, that they know that the border is a problem, that inflation's a problem, the uniparty's a problem, the whole world order is a problem. And Nikki Haley is part of that uniparty, okay,
Right.
with the whole world order. So I think he was forced to pick Mike Pence. I don't think you forced Donald Trump to do anything, but I think he listened to advisors that said, okay, he looks like the good evangelical
That's right.
guy.
The easy pick.
Yes.
Yes. There wasn't a whole lot of, controversy surrounding him.
Correct.
He was easy. He'd been in the game for a long time.
Yes.
He knew the system, and Donald Trump was definitely, he did not know the system. I mean, he was learning it, and, he needed somebody that really knew how to keep him up on, everything that was going to happen and was happening.
Yes. I agree with all that you said. And I think because he spent 4 years realizing the swamp is much deeper than he ever thought it was. And I've said this on the show several times, where I think he's always been well liked prior to this, even by Democrats and by anybody in Hollywood. I mean, you heard all these rap songs that they wanted to be like Donald Trump, and then totally became a Republican candidate. And then that all changed. And I think Donald Trump underestimated the hate and the depravity and the evil and the things they needed to hide, like Epstein and all of that. So he went in there still thinking he could turn them all around. And that didn't happen at all. But now he knows. He knows who they are. And every day, who is unraveling so much that I think now, I'm glad he was there the 4 years. It sheds the light on who the swamp was. He didn't get everything he would have wanted to do. He got everything that he promised to do. But then we thought he had 4 more years. Well, he did. He did have 4 more years. And in my opinion, we don't know. I'm going to say the election's stolen, but the truth is nobody knows, because we can speculate. It was obvious that there was cheating, but none of the judges ever let any of the proof come to light. So why is that?
Well, and the swamp's been around since the signing of the Constitution. So it is going to take a long time. It's going to be a process, to drain the swamp. And I think that is why, Trump is so hated by the left.
Yes.
They are so afraid of being exposed. They know that he will hold them accountable. He's not afraid to go after them toe to toe. And I think that really scares the heck out of people.
Yes.
Because he's coming for you.
Yeah.
And he has no problem saying, open my closet, let all the bones come out. They're there for you to see. And that scares them.
It does. And from the beginning, when people said to me, why in the world do you like him? I said, we know his skeletons. We already know he's been married a couple times before. We know he's got a good marriage now with Melania. We know about the money that his dad gave him to start the businesses. We know there was a bankruptcy there, but we know that he's turned it around, and he understands how to run a business and run it well from having to turn it from upside down. So we knew all of the skeletons. So all of these other things that came out were made up. They were things that weren't true, but because they couldn't find skeletons that he didn't already expose, they just made stuff up, like Russia.
Right.
And all these women, and these women were paid. And that just sounds far-fetched that these women would be allowed to be drugged through the mud like that for money. But now we know so many people are drugged through the mud for $1.
Oh, well, look at Brett Kavanaugh when he was, going in for Supreme Court. They drug him through the mud
and made stuff up.
And he was a man.
Yes.
I mean, they do not hold back, and they're ruthless.
Yes.
Anybody that wants to do the right thing or speak for the truth, they're not going to have it.
Correct. They just make it all up.
Exactly.
Make it all up. Well, speaking of making it all up, Tucker had on Owen Shroyer, who he went to jail for being at J6. The interesting thing is he didn't even go in the Capitol.
Exactly. He never stepped foot in there.
Never stepped foot. And he was actually telling people, don't go into the Capitol because it's a setup. And he still spent jail time.
That's right.
So if you could get the clip there of this, if you could play that, Joe.
I mean, you weren't even accused of going inside the Capitol building on January 6th. You were not accused of setting anything on fire or committing any act of violence. So, I mean, on what grounds could they steal your cell phones and violate your most basic privacies? I don't understand that. Like, what's the crime?
Well, the whole notion that the U.S. attorneys was arguing is that somehow I was behind the entire event that day. That's what their whole notion is that somehow I led the charge for what resulted in January 6th and people going into the Capitol and everything else. And I wanted to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, look, here's all my communications. That was never anybody's plan. I had nothing to do with that. I never went in the building. And they acknowledged that. They acknowledged that. And they still decided to come down heavy-handed on me. But it's worth mentioning too, Tucker, part of the process here with me turning all of this over and cooperating, my attorney and my understanding was that they weren't going to press for jail time. That was the mutual understanding that we had here. And then they tried to hit me with 120 days. And I'm not curious if that didn't come from the minds of the U.S. attorneys, but perhaps someone higher up at the DOJ. I might even believe it's at the very top of the DOJ. Maybe Merrick Garland is the one who's trying to put me behind bars and make an example out of me.
Wow. Did you just hear what he said?
Yes.
That
I think he's absolutely right.
I do too. I do too. And that's scary that in the United States of America, our government is as corrupt as Ukraine and Russia and China against their own citizens.
That's right.
You expect that in China. You expect that in Russia, but it's happening right here. And why? Because there again, he's somebody that could expose the truth on the uniparty.
Right. And all he did was come forward and said, there has been election fraud. This is not right.
Yes.
This is not what our Constitution stands for. And we need to speak up.
Yes.
I mean, First Amendment. First thing in our Constitution of the United States. All he said was, we have the right and we need to speak up.
Yes.
He never went into the Capitol building. He was there just like many other people. They were all there for the same reason. We all know why they were there, except for the antagonists. You know that, and that's a whole nother.
And that's another
group.
whole thing that we know that they were brought there by Nancy Pelosi, Mike Pence, and the alphabet soup people.
That's right. Exactly. And this just makes my blood boil so much because the new word has become incite since January 6th. Incite. So, it's the incitement, just like Donald Trump, he was, accused of inciting, the riot, the horrible riot. And then all of a sudden, everyone forgot about all of the incited, belligerent, blatant BLM riots that happened.
Yes.
And I understand that there was frustrations. I do. I understand that. But the way that happened and the way that went about all over our country, buildings burnt down, homes being destroyed, businesses being destroyed, throwing things at police officers or EMS. I could go on and on and on.
I was at the inauguration and there were areas that we could not go because those people were burning down limousines and burning down different types of cars and chanting. And then the next day you saw something that I didn't even know was going to happen was that woman march with people with vaginas on their head and all of this. And that was orchestrated.
Yeah, definitely.
So the good thing about the Ferguson riots and the good thing about what happened at the inauguration and seeing all that, it was really daunting at the time, but now we know who's behind it. We know why they're doing it. It's the same thing as the pro-Hamas people. They're the same people behind the BLM. Everybody can have their opinion about their nationality and all of that, but this is not what any of that is. It's all the same Soros type regime.
Yeah, well, and they're all allowed to run around and do whatever they wanted. And when you look at the states and the cities that had the most damage and the most riots, they were Democrat run Seattle, for example.
Yes.
And that wasn't just a few riots.
Mhm.
They let that whole thing happen for months and months and months. And they literally destroyed that city.
Yes.
It was in shambles.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden on October 6th, a few hours, and it was the biggest catastrophe. You know, as AOC said, it was a terrorist attack. And I still, to this day, I don't understand how you can go after all of these people, hundreds of people being arrested and thrown in jail.
Yes. And many still there.
Right. And many are still there.
Without
and
a
I
trial.
don't know any. Does anyone that's listening know of any Black Lives Matters rioters that were put in jail?
No. I remember even in our own town that they tried to come into our town, which is a very red town, and even our town didn't throw them in jail. Of course, they were not burning down buildings. However, they brought bricks into our town. And that was an MO of that thing. They brought bricks and they were throwing them into some of the windows and they were walking up and down. I don't recall them burning cars. And so what would happen to them is they would go to jail. They would be held for less than maybe 5 hours or so. And Soros type people that was funding the Black Lives Matters sprang them.
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
sprang them out.
It's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Going even back to the Michael Brown, Barack Obama completely and obviously incited violence.
Correct.
He got up and he said, Michael Brown's parents, they need to do what they need to do to stand up for their son. This was wrong.
Yes.
He incited so many riots for that, and not one person held him accountable.
Absolutely.
And then we've got Donald Trump saying that the election was rigged.
Yeah.
And he's the bad guy.
Right. And he's the bad guy. He's just speaking the truth about that.
Yeah. It's just unfair.
It really is unfair.
Yes.
Well, this is probably where you and I cannot relate to this. However, people through all of this stress might need a gummy.
That's right. They might need to sit back and
take
smoke or take a gummy or whatever it is that, makes them feel relaxed.
That's right. And so Joe, if you would like to have Route 66 ham, and I'm guessing Patrick, and have them come in, I think, you know what, you guys, maybe they're not going to come in because they're out there having a whole conversation.
Are they having a boys?
They are. They're having a boys club out there.
Over here?
Yeah.
Sorry, are you ready for them?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
my bad.
We called it, but it's because
I had my ear out.
Yeah.
I think Joe already had a couple gummies and maybe that's why. And then they're having a whole boys club out there. I think that's what that is.
Oh, no.
There. I think that's what that is.
Oh, this is going to be fun, Lizzie. See, we can ask all kinds of questions that we want to know.
That we want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Here
guys.
they come. Hi.
How are you?
How you guys doing?
Good.
And the studio turns green all at the same time.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
we decided to call the segment with you guys just for today, Weed for Beginners.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because before, Vic understands it. And if Eric's been in here, Eric doesn't really understand it as much either. And Joe is our expert resident on anything cannabis. But Megan and I, this is Megan.
Hi.
And as you can tell, I'm not Vic. And that's not Lizzie. So instead, you got Lizzie over here and Megan over there because Vic, I don't know, I think he's probably out smoking gummies.
You're
today.
prettier than Vic. That's for sure.
Oh, see, that's why we need you here.
If you smoke a gummy, that's like a crack at that point.
Okay, well then maybe
You're
he's doing
melting
crack.
it. No, he's not doing
Would
crack.
it be more effective if it was melted, the gummy?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't think anyone should be melting gummies.
Hey, this is where you might get asked questions that you never thought you would get asked.
Okay, well, good thing I brought Patrick because he's like the true weed connoisseur.
Well, tell him about so we were talking about earlier in the show, in Virginia, there was, you go ahead.
So in Virginia yesterday, I don't know if y'all saw the news that there was a bag of gummy bears brought to a Virginia elementary school. So elementary kids and several of the kids got into it and they were rushed to the hospital. So now they're putting fentanyl in gummies. And, like Joe was saying, what is the reason for this? What could possibly be the reason for people putting fentanyl now in gummies?
I didn't hear that story.
I don't know that. Is your mic on? I don't think his mic is on.
No.
So Joe,
Can you hear mine?
Yes, we can hear yours. You can hear yours.
I'll answer that, Senator.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know
Senator
sign language?
Patrick. Yes. So, okay, I think your mic's on now, Patrick.
Well, yeah, so I hadn't heard about that. But, of course, just like any controlled substance, whether it's prescription pills, heaven forbid, a child bring their parent's firearm into school or something like that. Cannabis it's only for adults, right? You have to be 18 to get your medical card or have your guardian's approval, and to shop on the recreational side, you have to be 21. So unfortunately, I think some folks maybe at home, they don't take the proper precautions to ensure that their children aren't getting into the adults' products. And then sometimes those children, maybe they bring them to school and start passing them out to their little friends at school. But I think everybody in the legal side of the cannabis industry would agree that cannabis use is not for children. And it's while it may be fun for us to keep a bag of gummies around or to smoke a joint, there's you still, especially when there's children present, you still have to be aware of the example you're setting and how you're keeping those products locked away for safe storage.
Definitely.
First of all, fentanyl is being added. That's not a child adding that. That's an adult.
That's right.
Correct.
Homemade gummies. It's no different than selling crack or cocaine or meth, right?
Right.
And to be perfectly clear,
dispensary.
There's no way you're going to get anything that has fentanyl in it if you buy from dispensary, correct?
Absolutely.
No,
Okay. All right. Just making sure that's
I mean, that's a legitimate question, because how else would it get in there is what people are wondering.
That's why we want to clear that up.
Yeah. So everything that we produce, and that's not just, Route 66 and our holding company, Green Farms, any cannabis company in Missouri, and actually anywhere in the country, it all has to go through a lab testing per product. So it gets tested. Then once they say, okay, this SKU is good to go, then you go and you go to the next level and you produce it and you put it out there.
Yeah.
So we don't just make stuff and then not test it and throw it. Like we have to. We're regulated by the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no different than going to Walgreens and buying something over the counter or getting a prescription. I mean, that stuff has all been tested. It's a pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And as you know, if you've noticed over the years, you can't get anything anymore. You have to they have to come and unlock the box. Right?
So true.
It's really crazy.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm just stuffy. They're like, no.
That's
'Cause
right.
you can melt this and make meth at home. I'm like, I actually don't want to.
Yeah, you have to
That's
show
not-
your
wasn't your
driver's
plan.
license.
But
and,
okay.
Yeah.
It's intrusive to the innocent.
Oh,
person,
absolutely.
really.
And
Yeah,
you're
but they
only
don't have a
allowed so
choice.
much. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
if you go to get your Zyrtec D that has pseudoephedrine in it, and you lose it, you take it on a trip and you don't have it, and you come back and you try to get it again, you're over your limit. You're done. Like
Correct.
you can't get your medication.
I'm terrified of the whole situation because it
I'm
feels like
sure.
when you go to the bank and you want to get like a little more than normal cash, and they're like, "Can we have all your information?" You're like, "I'm not.
Right.
I'm just going to Vegas. Like, what's happening
Yeah,
right
you
now?"
don't want the CIA at your front door.
I feel like the SWAT team's coming out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is sad that we're kind of feeling like that these
Oh,
days.
it is. But bad people have ruined it for the good people.
That's true.
So and
That's
that's
true.
just the way the world's going right
It's
now.
going to be like that for everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it is.
true.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about razors for a second, right? I mean, everybody uses a razor
True.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Mhm.
I mean,
do.
it's like locked up with like security, like
Yeah.
cameras and like alarms and like the chain. I'm like, I just need a Mach 5 because
Right.
Right.
Because of this.
I need to shave my
Yes,
face today.
that's right.
What's happening here, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yep,
It
that's
is
right. You can't take a
confusing.
razor on a airplane, so
Well, you can't take like a straight razor.
Right.
I think you could take like a regular.
well
razor.
there's
you better
those
have
of
it
us that
in
like
your
to
luggage.
dermaplane on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, that dermaplane. That
See?
could be dangerous. You have to check that.
And
in.
yeah,
You could kill
do
somebody.
that.
with
I could.
stuff.
And I I might.
Mhm.
I mean, look at me.
Yeah, you look scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
you look scary.
That's why I sit in the back of the Southwest flight.
That's because of people like Megan.
Mhm.
No, because I could just hide in the bathroom until the whole situation's over with.
Okay, well there you
I
go.
don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be the one that saves the plane.
You're not going to say let's roll.
Well, the problem is you try to save a plane, people think they don't know. Everybody's got the problem in today's society is everybody brings out their cameras before they actually help someone,
Isn't
right?
that the truth?
Like if Patrick and I were like walking and we got like our car caught on fire on the way back, instead of people coming in and helping us, they'd be like filming us.
That's
Right.
right.
They're like, wow, look at that.
I know.
They're just burning inside that car.
It's
Like,
so
get us
backwards.
Right, but you're right. It's like they might get a couple more likes or a couple more views out of it if they let you burn ham.
Yep.
Content,
right.
content.
Got
Yeah.
it.
And you don't want to smell burnt ham. It's not good.
Yeah.
I just didn't even realize I set you up for that.
It's no good.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, so I do have some questions for
Yeah,
y'all, but
fire
do you
away.
have anything that you guys wanted to say first?
No, we've kind of kept it open format the last couple weeks.
Okay.
So
Okay, so here's a question for you. There's many people that have jobs where they could be drug tested at any given moment, whether it's law enforcement, working with kids. And so there's many of us that also have extremely sore muscles. We're into sports, athletics, things like that. So I've heard amazing things about CBD, oils and ointments mixed with the THC, which is supposed to have an even better effect. Now, if someone were to use that on their, ailments, so to speak, would that show up on drug tests?
So, Megan, that's a great point and a really good question, because you're exactly right. There's many industries, truck drivers, government employees, all sorts of industries where they're still subject to federal regulations and random drug tests. And indeed, our cannabis products, when consumed either orally or when you're smoking them, those are going to show up on any sort of drug test. So, I think most of those folks are aware, and they try and make their decisions wisely. But yeah, so CBD has of course, is found in the cannabis plant. It's one of the dozens of cannabinoids that are present in cannabis. And it's over the last several years, since legal cannabis has been growing in states, the knowledge of CBD and the awareness of CBD has been growing. So CBD, of course, is the cannabinoid itself is not regulated the same way as THC is by the federal government. So for that reason, CBD is much more widely available. You can, basically find it at the gas station on the side of the road. But a lot, I shouldn't say a lot. There's always concerns about where that sort of hemp-derived CBD comes from, because as we just said, all of the products that we are selling, we test them through state-certified labs. We are growing all of the product. But some of these hemp farms, they don't have the same sort of regulations that these legal cannabis grows do. Oftentimes, you might find that the hemp or the CBD is being sourced from overseas, and that might raise even more questions about the cleanliness or the processes behind making the product. So CBD is very effective in its ability to treat pain. But oftentimes CBD works better when there's some THC present. So I often use the analogy of the horse and the whip. So CBD works well. The horse will run. If you let it go, the horse will run. CBD, it does good for pain. But once you introduce a little bit of THC,
you got the whip.
You get the whip. So the horse starts running faster. The THC and the CBD combine together and work with your receptors inside your body to just enable you to take in more CBD. So you're able to get more of those therapeutic benefits from CBD. But that's not at all to discount the therapeutic benefits that you get from THC as well. So I've said before on the show that you can often kind of look at the effects of THC, and specifically the psychoactive effect, the high, as kind of a side effect of the medicine. So THC has all of these great therapeutic benefits, anti-inflammatory, pain relief. It can help stimulate appetite. And then, it also has a side effect that many of us enjoy that gets you high. It elevates your mood. So kind of getting back to your first point there, typically the folks who are getting drug tested as part of their career, most of these products are going to show up on any sort of drug test.
So topically,
but the topicals are generally safe for use.
Yeah.
So yeah, creams or patches, salves, which are just kind of like a
because you're not getting
lotion.
a high from that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, but still, when it's topically, it'll be ingested by the skin into your bloodstream, and so that's what I was curious about, is if it would show up in the blood if you were to use like a compound or something on your sore muscles, or you just had surgery, and a lot of people are recommending those compounds now because of the benefits that it has. Apparently, it's it can actually physically make you feel less stressed, and also help that actual injury feel better.
Yeah, I'm a big user of the creams.
Mm-hmm.
I used it yesterday after a really tough workout. It's really mostly my left arm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it really shows up, Patrick. That's a tough one.
Could you guys find that out and let us know? Because there's a lot of us that we don't do it for recreation.
Correct.
But I'd love to know if the benefits that I hear about.
It's really interesting that you bring this up because the NHL, they were the first sport that really started to accept cannabis, right?
Mhm.
And now I think
Mhm.
the NBA and the NFL
Mhm.
have kind of allowed it. I don't know if baseball's allowed it yet or not, but I know like that's a huge market, and that's something that I've really been like working on in my own little space on how to like take this to the next level
Right.
with the creams. But the creams, how I've looked at it is, I want to take it on a national level, actually on a worldwide level with the CBD, and then eventually when the THC is allowed or a small dosage on a national level when you can sell it, then I would love to do that too.
Right.
Because that is a huge deal out there. I mean, people have pain.
Well, yeah,
from a lot of different things,
and
right?
it'd be a huge selling point for you too if
Correct.
if it was something that would not show up, in blood work.
But how I've always said it, and Patrick can jump in on this, if you are going to use the cream and you work for a company that does not, then you need to go to the HR department and say, look,
And ask them.
like
Yeah.
this is what's going on. I've got this pain. This is the cream I'm going to use. It's got THC, but it doesn't get you high. It doesn't change. Like, so when I put it on, like yesterday, I went to the office. I wasn't high at the office. I was just my pain was gone.
Yeah,
That's all
you
it
just
was.
felt better.
Yeah, I wasn't like like inside the fridge just eating everything that they were offering.
Right.
Right. I was just my elbow felt better. That's it.
Yeah.
Right now, if I took that same amount of dosage that it says on the bottle and I ingested that, I would be blitzed. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and what we were talking about before you guys got here earlier in the show, my father-in-law had cancer. And when he got cancer, he died within 2 weeks. And he didn't die of the cancer, he died of the chemo. And at the time, my husband and I were really anti giving him the chemo. We wanted to, find out, from Route 66 or from somewhere else. And Joe had told me, what'd you call it? Rick something oil? What was it?
Rick Simpson.
Rick Simpson. Yeah.
Yes. Do you sell something like that at Route 66 that would help somebody that's a cancer patient?
Yeah, so Rick Simpson oil gained a lot of popularity. It's specifically, it's more of a full plant extract. So they're using specific extraction methods to extract all of the cannabinoids directly from the plant. And it has been shown to be effective to treat certain types of illnesses, cancer in particular. But I always advise folks, none of these cannabis products should be viewed as a cure for any sort of ailment. Certainly when used in conjunction with traditional medicines, Western medicine, I guess, it has been shown to improve certain symptoms, but yeah, certainly I would not necessarily recommend somebody just abandon their doctor's advice and just strictly go with cannabis as their medicine. It's it's certainly not shouldn't be viewed as a cure.
Supplemental.
Supplemental.
I think the scary part is this. So this is what keeps me up at night. Cannabis has a lot of amazing effects, and we're still in the early stages, right? I mean, there's just more and more states that are legalizing it, and the government's trying to figure it out. I can promise you one thing. In 10 years, cannabis is going to be owned by big pharma.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Whether
yet.
whether Patrick and I like it or not, because they know that this has a lot of effects, and I guarantee you, it's got a lot of cures. But what happens when you find something that is very inexpensive and can cure something? They
know that the little guys are making money.
Correct,
And
but it's
a
not
big
money.
grab for them too.
It's about the control.
Yes.
Right. And so that's where we try to hold true to what we do every day, because they don't want that stuff out.
Yeah.
Why would they want a cure? I mean, think about it. Why would you want a cure?
Yeah,
we want a
exactly.
cure.
Yeah.
Right.
But then you would kill businesses.
That's
right?
what we talked about earlier today.
And that's
That
the
exact
sad part,
point.
right?
Yeah.
I truly do believe there's a lot of different things that cannabis does to cure people. I don't have the medical background to prove it, but I know it's there, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so healing.
Right.
And so many people swear by it. And there's a lot of people that I know in my world today that will not put all these drugs in their body.
Right.
They've gone a holistic route and they're doing much better, right?
Yes. My aunt had brain cancer, and she said, I am not taking chemo. I am not doing anything. They gave her like 2 years to live. She went the route of cannabis and oils and that sort of thing. She's still here.
Yeah.
She's still here.
amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And at the very least, if it doesn't cure your ailment, then speaking from personal experience, I've got family who are living with cancer now, and they use cannabis just to help them get through the day. I don't know that any of us would point to edibles or pre-rolls or whatever it is and say, oh, this is what's keeping him alive. But, certainly, it helps improve your appetite. It helps improve your mood. And, I can only imagine folks who are going through, serious medical treatment.
Yeah.
They just need a little bit of something to help them get through the day. So if,
But I could see it one day where they're using the cannabis oil as a way of blasting whatever sickness you have in your body, right? At a higher dosage where it's not getting you high, they're actually treating it. But that's the scary part, right? That's because we're not there yet with it being legalized across the country. But I'm telling you, when that day comes, you're gonna see all these companies, from the tobacco companies to big pharma, coming in. That they're not gonna want that stuff out.
Correct. That's
They're just
so
waiting on the
true.
sidelines right now.
Yeah.
And they have the cash to do it too.
Yeah.
So I see Pam here in the chat. She's kind of blowing it up right now. She says they used it in biblical days. So that's something that I really like to think about. And I kind of talked about it last time I was on the show. And we're almost dancing around this idea that humans have been using cannabis for thousands of years, both in food. We've grown this plant for its textiles, the hemp fibers. We can make clothes out of it. We can do a whole lot of things with this plant. And people have taken this plant with them from continent to continent, civilization to civilization, because we've known for, since day one that, hey, when I ingest this plant, it makes me feel really good, but it also, it has all these benefits for my livestock or, my overall health. So the idea that, that people can use cannabis for the medicinal benefits is something that, maybe we lost sight of at some point. The regulations changed and the conversation around cannabis kind of changed a little bit. So, that's that's one of the things that I really enjoy about cannabis is the long history that it has tied directly with, the progression of human civilization. So
correct.
They used it back then, so there's no reason that it's not safe for use these days.
So and you know what you're not going to see with ever? I could just go ahead and go on record and say that you're never going to see a cannabis commercial ever that says, if you have been taking this cannabis product, the side effects are blindness, loss of hair, death, kidney failure, right? You're never going to hear that because it's a natural product.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So these drug companies, and I'm not here on a rant on drug companies, but I am, right?
Right.
These drug companies, they're adding all sorts of things that are so toxic,
Yes.
right? So, so then if we've all watched the commercials, you're making a really tough decision. You're like, yeah, my throat really hurts, but am I willing to lose a toe over it? Or do I just kind of wing it until it cures itself? Because the side effects are so, so long, but they ramble that off. And as they're rambling that off really fast, there's like this family out in the pasture playing with like a dog. There's a butterfly and a rainbow. I'm like, what's happening
do you
right
want to
now?
be?
Like,
Right.
Is there really a rainbow? Because the side effects is death.
Right.
Like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an odds guy. Like, if the side effect is you're going to be a little tired, you might not go to work for a couple days. You can't have alcohol. You're like, oh, I got this. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But when it's like you might lose your hair, your eyesight, or you might die, I don't want it in my body.
Higher chance of cancer.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just don't want it in my body. Period.
Correct.
So I'd rather just wing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. These days, you would rather just wing it than ingest all of these things that have side effects.
And do you know why they're disclosing all the side effects? Because of all these attorneys that have been involved.
That's
so now they're like, we told you so.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your hair. We told you.
I mean, even if you're the 1% that it could happen to, or the only person that's ever happened to, it has to be disclosed now because they will lose their butt with, attorneys.
Yeah. And I take that route. I don't want it in my body. There's other ways. But that's the problem in today's country. We've become a country where we don't do our research anymore. We just listen like, oh, well, they said this is going to help me. Well, there's so much information on the internet. You just have to take a few minutes to read and understand where you can get plant-based medicine for a lot of things. Right. And so I've always been a plant-based medicine person. If you've known me over the last 20 years, I barely even take Advil. Like, it has to be like a really bad situation for me even pop an Advil.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. There's a million other ways to like cure yourself. And to Patrick's point, I mean, there was all these drugs that we see today, those weren't available back then.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
People figured it out.
So true. So stoners have been around forever is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
I said it a couple weeks ago. You can easily get romantic about the idea of cannabis, and the role that it has played in the progression of people. There's a couple other crops out there that you can think of throughout history, right? Like rice and wheat, maybe cotton to a certain extent. But yeah, cannabis, the impact that it has had on people and our ability to really explore the world is quite striking.
That's great.
I was reading this thing this morning on Italy, and I'm just infatuated with Italy. Never been. It's on my bucket list.
Amazing.
Not only to go, but speak the language. So those are like my 2024 goals. And it said that 50% of the when you compare it to the United States, the population of Italy is they eat more pasta, more breads and cheeses, and they're healthier than us in the United States. But there's a reason behind that, right? They don't put any preservatives in their food.
Right. Ours is processed.
It's all processed, right? So when I hear people going like, "Oh my God, I can't have bread or cheese." Well, yeah, in America you can't because it's just filled with junk.
Yeah.
And that makes
it's
sense.
sad.
Because
really
years
is
ago,
sad.
when we were little, we could have the breads and the cheeses
Yeah.
and be fine. And now everybody's got gluten allergies. And why do we think that is? Look at all the processed.
I can't even go to a restaurant. Like if you go to a decent restaurant, there's so many like little emojis. I call them little emojis, right? It's got like the little gluten emoji and it's got the vegan friendly. I'm like, what am I eating?
Yeah.
It's got like all these different pictures of all the things. They're like, this is such a safe product. And then you get it and it's just
the same as everything else.
But it's bland. You're like, what is
Right.
What is it?
That is such a good point too. You're right. It's like, how do I decipher all of the emojis next to each of the entrees?
Right.
Yeah.
You got to look down at the bottom in your Cliff Notes.
Yeah. And God forbid, like if anyone has younger kids, well, Patrick does, wait till you start hitting these birthday parties. Cause like when my kids were growing up, birthday parties were like cake from Costco.
Yeah.
So you're not getting a cake from Costco. This cake is like wheat-free, allergy-free.
Peanut-free.
Peanut-free.
Yes.
It's got no dairy in it. I mean, it's not even cake anymore.
No,
right.
That's so true.
Well, and Ham, speaking of parties, last week when you were here, you were telling Vic and I that you were going to have a party with maybe just a few kids there, but that it could end up to 60. And how did that party go? And who came? And tell us about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just be clear. I did not throw a party for teenagers. My daughter threw one.
Got it.
And yeah. So I yeah, we'll leave it at that for a second. So I zip tied parts of the house, doors, I should say, not
okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't a fire hazard, but just areas that I just didn't want kids to go into. And really, I made sure that the event was in the basement. And I got to hand it to these kids in 2023. They come strong with their polite game, right? You know, Mr. Hammer, thank you for inviting us over. Oh my gosh, your house is beautiful. I love your Christmas lights. Saying all the right words, but all coming in with backpacks like they're like on Dora the Explorer, right?
Right.
And you know, I would say, kids, you know, I know you're going to change because this is like a pajama themed party after your dance, but please bring your backpacks up afterwards. And I just noticed the backpacks weren't coming up. And I have cameras at all the bars downstairs, and I've already cleared everything. And I start noticing, you know, little Jimmy, you know, we won't name names, you know, he's got the big, you know, tumbler, and he's just pouring like some for everyone. So, you know, this was my first moment where I'm like, I got this because I'm the only adult, because none of the parents wanted to volunteer to help. I found that interesting. They're probably out, you know, drinking too.
Exactly. Right. They are.
So I'm on guard. I go down there and I give little Jimmy a tap on the shoulder. And of course, the look of shame on his face, about to cry. I go, don't cry. I'm not going to tell your parents.
Oh, really? He was about ready to cry?
Well, because he's busted. Now, I'm not, at this point, you know, the other side of me is thinking, is he crying because I'm pouring his booze out, or is he crying because he's busted?
Right. Oh,
my guess is that the booze is getting spilled, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's like, you know, I'm 15. Where am I going to get another one of these, you know? So I clear it out. I'm like, look, just have a good time. And, you know, they had their little playlist. I could hear the music throughout the house. And about 11:30, I just noticed like the crowd was getting a little rowdy downstairs. And there was about 80 plus kids. And I went down there, and they had found like a little corner where they were all hovering. And I've probably never seen so many fireball shots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the little glass
containers. Yeah. So I was like, oh, so this is why they sell this at the grocery store. It's not for adults. It's for
the
kids.
Yeah.
Right. We're over here like worried about the cannabis industry. The alcohol industry is figuring out how to market to kids.
Wow.
So I found that, some bush lights. And I was like, guys, seriously. So like, I'm like, if I have to do this again, we're kicking people out. I'm calling parents. And it did continue. So I did shut the party down.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah, you
Good
gave
for
a
you.
warning
And so
and-
how was your daughter? Wasn't it your daughter?
Correct. When I went down to the few times, she had this look on her face like,
oh no,
like I don't know what's happening here, Dad, because she's not a drinker, and she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
like
she
I
was
can't control it.
surprised
Now,
too.
you know,
Yeah.
she's 5'2" and like 90 pounds. She's not going to bounce, you know, the place. And by the way, what's going on with 14-year-old boys? They're like 6'5" and like 250.
Right.
Like
right.
Matumbo shows
right.
up at my house. I'm
Yeah.
like, how did you get so tall? And by the way, can you help me change a light bulb in my kitchen?
That's
'Cause
right.
I don't want to bring out the ladder. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just unbelievable how tall these kids are.
Yeah.
But for the most part, overall, all the kids were good. But there was probably a handful that wanted to be cool. But I'm like, not on my watch. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And thank God, all their parents drove. But it also taught me that was it. Like I had a long talk with my daughter, and I said, "You want to have like a little get together, summertime, 5-6 girls by the pool, great. But
Yeah.
I can't manage 80 kids, especially when they start getting cars, because I'm not gonna."
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So
Oh,
to
yeah.
all the parents out there, I mean,
Mhm.
your kid could be as sweet and innocent as possible, but they also have that one friend that's not.
Correct.
Yes.
And there's always that one friend out of 80 kids. If you figure only 5 of them had that, that's a decent margin, but those 5 ruined the party for
Well, they
everybody
bring it
else.
and they try to distribute it out
right.
to
Yes.
everyone. So,
Yeah. And their
Correct.
backpacks are not because they're going to their friend's house to study.
well, I noticed the backpack, the ones that really had the big backpacks.
Mhm.
I'm like, come on, bud.
Yeah. That's
We're not
that's
going. We're
the
not
big
going
thing.
Yellowstone hiking here.
Yeah.
Something's not
Yeah.
adding up.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yep, that's their
gosh.
big thing.
That's funny.
Mhm.
Well, we have like 2 minutes left before the show ends. So is there anything you guys want to add before we end the show?
So of course the holidays are coming up here in a week, 2 weeks. We are running, Ostara is running some really great discounts at all the Route 66 stores. So starting on the 21st, running through the 25th, of course, Christmas Day. And I think the stores are actually closed on Christmas Day. But so the 21st through the 24th, effectively, we're running 20% off all Ostara products. So for example, the Rest Gummies, one of our most popular products, typically these go for $22. So 20% off would be around $18. So, $4 off. So yeah, 20% off at all the Route 66 stores around St. Louis. And again, that'll be starting next week.
Very good. And when you go in to any of these locations, and you guys can tell us the locations in a minute, make sure that you mention that you saw Patrick and Ham on Cancel This.
Yeah. So if you're a first time customer and you mention the show, you get 20% off.
Very good.
And we were talking about this earlier. It's very rare in our industry to give discounts because
Mhm.
there's a major supply shortage still.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, because you've got the bordering states that did not pass rec,
Mhm.
and we can't control that. So people are coming in from the bordering states and buying stuff and then
Oh,
taking
yeah.
it back for their friends. I mean, you just can't control it.
No,
So
you
we're the
can't.
new Colorado, so to speak.
We are.
In the
And
middle
then on the
states.
Illinois side, that's on the bordering side, like we're seeing a pretty big spike in business only because the Illinois taxes are so high. They're like, what, 33%, Patrick?
Yeah, it can touch into the 40s, I think.
Wow, that's
So,
a lot.
and if you live, 4 minutes from the Missouri side, why are you going to pay, up to 40% in
Right,
taxes?
exactly.
Mhm.
So, but we are running these holiday specials. It's been a pretty wild run to say, especially right now during the holidays. We're staying pretty busy, and I'm sure a lot of our competition is staying busy. But I always say, like, we love our industry. We love other dispensaries. It's a different industry. Like, we root for each other. Like, we don't root against
That's
each other.
rare.
Awesome.
That's really rare.
It is. But I, as an owner, I've always taken that stand, like, to embrace the people that we sell to and we work with, because we want to see them do well. This is a very small community, so it's nothing but love.
I was
That's
just going to
great.
say
That's
lots
great.
of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Warm
love
hugs
that.
and love.
Yes. Well, and I saw that. I saw just yesterday, I saw 2 people that listened to the show that I don't know if they came in and mentioned it or not, but one had been to the Wentzville location and one had been to the location. I guess it's technically St. Peter's, but it's
Correct.
a lot of people think it's unincorporated county since it's there near Junk Station and all, but both had gone in and were very pleased.
Oh, good.
So yeah, I saw it.
That's probably the number one compliment we get. They're like, wow, I've never seen a store like that. It doesn't feel cold. It's very inviting. And these stores were designed to make you feel like, it's okay to come in. It's not like a pharmacy where it's super cold, and it's not like a strip club where it's super dark and you're terrified of like what's about to happen next.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've been to dispensaries and, it's
That's what I think of
That's
in
what
my
you envision.
mind.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you said earlier, going in with a hoodie it's, you're not sure who's going to be in there, what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't know who you're going to run into.
No, is it going to be dark? What's going on in there?
We keep it pretty lit, and the floors are always like, they look super shiny even though they're not wet. But everyone's like, oh my God, are these floors wet? But it's designed to kind of give you that, like, it's okay. You're like in a safe place.
It's like a showroom.
Yeah, it's like a car showroom.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well,
Wow.
very good. Well, very good.
And I'll be going there after the show.
Okay. Well, which location? You go to the Wentzville
I go to the
location?
Wentzville, yeah.
And could you give us, before we sign off, could you give us your locations again?
Go ahead, Patrick.
So there's 5 in and around St. Louis. So in the city, there's the South Grand on Grand and Chippewa. There's one in Dogtown, right on Manchester. And then, as Joe said, there's the Wentzville store. There's one in St. Peter's, and the newest in De Pere.
Very good.
So you guys are all around town.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, very good. And thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for answering all of my questions.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll double check on the topical creams.
Yeah, that might help.
But I did read a comment here, and I will tell you, in today's world, you should be able to go to your HR department and explain to them it's legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I think it's the differentiation, them not knowing, and a blood test is not, there's no marker to say that it was topical or ingested.
Yeah,
correct. But I'm saying it's a legal thing. And
Yeah.
more companies should change their handbooks.
Yeah.
It's no different. Like the handbook that I had in my old company, it just said you can't come to work drinking, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it didn't say you can't, on weekends, you can't have a glass of wine.
Right. Makes sense.
It's the same thing. I mean, imagine if we showed up to work on Mondays and they tested us to see if we've had a cocktail.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, 90% of guys would get fired because of Sunday football right out of the
Right.
gate.
Mhm.
They're like, yeah, I did drink on
Yeah.
Sunday. My team lost, so I drank more afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, that is really great advice. And we can get into that again next week about the topicals, if you guys can let us know about that. And
we'll
I agree
we'll bring some with us.
Okay.
So you can see what they look like too.
Yeah,
And
that'd
the
be
ratios.
awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
All right. Well, we are signing off. So thank you very much, Pro Joe, and thank you, Patrick and Ham. And it's been a delight with you
Thank
today.
you.
Megan.
It was awesome. Thanks,
So-
Pro Joe.
And Lizzie Sparks. So you guys have a great day from cancelthisshow.com.
Thanks.